Oh yeah, you ever have that thing where the game doesn't draw the borders on the fish correctly?
I think so. Yeah. You're completely caught up, right?
Yeah.
By the way?
Yeah, I'm caught up. I'm at about 3 minutes.
Okay. I just have this
Right.
capture. I just got the information from yesterday.
All right. Well, anyway, it looks like Vinchester's getting started off with some laming. I see a big line of 7 sheep running from Viper's TC to his TC. I think Viper might have not had any vills there, and Vinch just went and took all those sheep. Now, I have seen players on this map dock where Vinchester has docked, very far at the front. Viper's taking a different approach, docking very far at the back by his back TC. I've
Yeah.
not seen that yet. Maybe he's looking to prevent trading from Vinchester with the junks, because Vinch has his junk sitting right at the spot where Viper would normally build his dock.
In earlier rounds of the tournament, we saw people go for dogs where the Viper's gone for it. And it's usually because the junks are actually pretty resilient. It actually is better for trading, interestingly enough. But the Viper does have the TC over there, so eventually with enough fire he might be able to take the junks down, but right now I guess it's going to delay Vinchester, who seems to be expecting to see the dog come out towards the south.
Yeah, and the other thing about the dock in the south is you can actually wall it in. Those little, you can sometimes chop the tree and build some palisade gates along the front area, and you can prevent the trading.
That is true.
But in the north, like where Viper has his dock in the middle right now, there's no way he can stop Vinchester just from sailing there.
Is that the case? I think it should be able to, shouldn't it?
Well, he'd have to wall the middle, but that's kind of a long way for a Vil to walk to wall. Right now, there's no water he can wall in, I think. I think
But
those houses are just kind of Gaia houses that are there. I don't think you can actually wall there.
I think you can wall on top the shallow terrain around the TCs.
Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about the one by the TC. I mean the one,
Oh,
like, by where all of his fish is. Like, Vinch can just trade with that as much as he wants.
right. No, I think you can wall
Yeah.
that too, because I saw yesterday that players would go for the walls on top of the kind of greeny looking water.
Yeah, I think you can wall under the TC, and I think you can wall, like, the green and blue overlaid water at the front. I don't know if you can wall just the green water.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if you
Okay,
get what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, I see it now. Okay, well, I guess we are going to find out. For the time being, Vinchester he's aware already of that dog, and he's going for the junk over there, collecting some 127 gold.
Yeah, they are pretty far ways apart. And we see both players have actually made a second dock at the bottom. Viper going for Byzantines for the faster firing fire ships, and Vinchester going for Berbers for the faster moving ships. So both pretty good water civs.
Yeah.
And I think I do like Byzantines a bit more if they end up fighting on land.
Oh yeah, I definitely like the Byzantines more over here as an all-around civilization. The Berbers with the fast-moving ships you mentioned, they're gonna be getting a little bit of extra gold perhaps, but it shouldn't be too much.
I guess it's true that junks will get more gold from the docks.
Yeah. Little engagement
And
at
a
the
bit of a
center
scout
though.
fight.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Vinch loses both scouts. Viper loses one. Took a good fight just as he got feudal.
It
Yeah,
was coming
and so
back.
the junks, I'm pretty sure 198 gold. I'm pretty sure they have 0 base armor, so they take 1 damage from every type of attack. So you can't really kill them with the TC.
Yeah, exactly. So, the junk is indeed going back for the Viper with close to 200 gold. You take a look at Vinchester's one, and it's not looking quite as good. And he's actually patrolling now.
Oh, you can patrol a junk with a galley.
Yeah. Oh man.
But like it might not be able to right click to attack, but it might attack if it's patrolling and something comes near.
Maybe. Do you think is it going to deal any damage? Capture doesn't have an attack stat for it.
Like everything has like a minimum of 1 damage, so it would very slowly. It might be like that deer that attacks your outpost in Vinland Saga. You ever play that campaign?
No. No.
There's a deer that attacks your outpost, and it very slowly does damage.
Right. Yeah, I guess we could see that. Well, on the right-hand side, Vinchester already has a few galleys, and the Viper's gonna start trying to put some aggression with the fire galleys over here, but Vinchester's gotten enough already to defend himself with.
Yeah, and no fletching yet for Vinchester, though, so it will be a bit hard for him to kill the fires. But I like how he's using the fishing ship to basically absorb that fire and protect his galleys. Nice little nook there he was able to hide in.
Yeah, exactly. This is something that we see
now.
Usually a lot more frequently with the Japanese, for instance, because of the extra HP, the extra pierce armor, but not the case this time around. So he does almost end up losing the fishing ships. And now the junk on the left-hand side, though, just went down for Vinch. Left on the L1.
His do move significantly faster, but the Viper looks like he'll probably take it out with the fires. Fires actually attack fast enough they can kind of sink the junk. No, he sails past. He's not patrolling.
Yeah, and this is one of those things with the double TC star, right? That it's kind of hard to keep up with everything, so we already saw Vinchester patrol the junk, realize about it a little bit later. We see now the Viper go straight past the junk from Vinchester as well. So both these players kind of losing a little bit of grip in the game.
Yeah, and both up to Castle Age at about the same time too. But Vinch's eco is looking much stronger. Look at all those resources he has collected.
Yeah, true. Well, man, this is what we are expecting to see, most likely or not. Every time it's going to be fast castle with double TC start, or potentially even triple TC start, or quadruple TC start. You're gonna see players definitely try and take advantage of the faster economy to go up.
Yeah, and Vinch loses his Vil in the middle to Viper's Scout. Good pick off there.
All right.
Is that Nova? That is Nova. I like all of these galleys for Vinch. I feel like especially with the Berbers, your galleys have a really nice advantage against the fire ships because you can actually outrun them fairly well and pick when you want to fight. You're not going to get trapped by a bunch of fires, even in these narrow little Venice channels they have.
Yeah, TOS, I'm having some issues with my computer right now. OBS is bugging out and hoarding the GPU. Okay. I'll need to mute myself and try to sort this out for a moment, alright?
Alright, so while Nova does that...
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I was trying to just debug this. Alright, we should be back though in any case. So let's just keep on going and... Yeah, now it's working better and we're gonna try to catch up a little bit, but I don't know if we're going to be able to completely catch up. So I'm just going to let TOS know that we're probably going to continue for game 2. Alright. So we are back now. This is working properly. And I think, most likely, it's not going to break anymore, but today we're not going to have any annotations, I think. So, continuing on the game over here, Vinchester is going to start putting some pressure on land. He's got knights and camels. Meanwhile, the Viper, he's got a knight over here as well. He's got camels producing. And the game is already starting to get to that stage where... Let's try to go 2x over here. The game is already getting to that stage where we're gonna see the game accelerate substantially as the players already get to a good economy and start making a transition to military production instead. There we go. We should be live again, right? Are we? Can you see the stream right now? Let me know if you can. And let me know if you can hear me as well. Hopefully everything's going all right. All right. We are going to resume co-casting with T-West in game number 2. So yeah, pretty uneventful for the most part. The land pressure that we saw from the players come up was fairly small. We see a castle coming up in the north as well. And then on the right-hand side, we have a little bit of pressure coming in from Vinchester. Both these players already on fire ships. Thank you, Zealous. Appreciate it. And the defensive castle's coming up as well. You cannot convert any Gaia units on this map with monks, no. You cannot convert the buildings or the units by approaching them. You cannot convert them with monks either. We saw actually one player try doing that on a different map, on a different tournament actually. But I don't think the Gaia units over here will be different compared to that. So I think most likely it's not going to be possible. Now Gaia's coming in though with the Wolf Raid over here. Trying to take on the villager, cannot do it. Yo, Encanto, very much appreciated. Thank you so much for the Prime sub as well, which you know I absolutely love. With your Prime's subscription, you can claim a Twitch subscription for free as well, and that was a nice demo shot. And I'll take it. I'll take all the bestest money, of course. Beautiful, one villager going down already. Another villager might crumble here from the Viper. He reacts though, brings the camels out. And Tiwas and I were discussing the civilizations a little bit earlier. We both were liking Viper civilization a little bit better, as the map over here is going to lend itself to more land aggression than water aggression. And even if it came down to water only, I would still like the Byzantines probably a little bit better because of the fish, because of the fire ships anyway. But yeah, Vinchester is just gone for Casbah. The Viper is not going for fast fire ship, and he's just focusing on full land aggression. And check this out, the camels are coming up. Play bar than armor, heavy camel conscription is coming in. Cap Ram 2 and Vinchester. Vinchester is not anywhere near as high in military count compared to the Viper for land units over here. For the most part, he's going to have just the camel archers. And there we go. The upgrades are coming out. The Viper's going for iron casting as well and should be able to clean these units up. And this is what I was talking about earlier as well, with so many things taking place around the map happening at the same time. It's going to be pretty darn difficult to keep up with everything. And Vinchester ends up kind of taking a few losses over there on the left-hand side. Seems that the castle's going down as well. The Viper's cap round do not even make it into the castle before the trebuchets from the Viper already are able to take the castle down. This one is coming up next. Let's take a look at the Viper to see if he knows. He knows about it, yes. Just got a castle coming up towards the north. He's got the siege on the left-hand side to push Vinchester away. And that's going to lead the Viper on about 65% or so of map control, I would say, against Vinchester. So that's pretty good, of course, for the yellow player. He's got a TC coming up the south neutral island, so he's going to have 3 neutral islands already under control. The one up in the north because of the castle, if he manages to get this up, although he's getting pushed away from the area for the time being. The one down the south because of the TC, and then the one on the left hand side because of being between the TC and the castle, right? So there's only the east neutral island that Vinchester might be able to secure because of his own castle. There we go. Castle's going down indeed from Vinchester. On the left-hand side, and the Viper. The Viper won't be able to get a castle up in the north that he wanted to go for, though. Ends up deleting the foundation over there. It's gonna have to go for it. On the left instead. Yeah, and so far, Vinchester's been able to hold on just fine, despite getting pushed away from the left-hand side. He's now getting to 200 population with a stronger military, as the Viper still has some extra population space to fill. We're going up a little bit faster over here than 1.7 because we're trying to catch up. But we caught up! We caught up! So I think we might be able to resume casting, hopefully! Let me see if T-Was is still there. Hello? Yeah, I completely caught up. 34 minutes, 45 seconds. Yeah, it is, and I was able to, thankfully. Right. Yeah, so as you said, the Viper was looking a little bit stronger. I was taking a look at gather economy time, and he does have about an hour extra gather economy time compared to Vinchester. The extra villager count does work, of course. And Vinch is going to try and reestablish control of the left-hand side. He had lost the castles over there, now he's managed to get another one out by the stone.
Yeah, he's trying to control that stone, and the Camel Archer in the long run is the unit he wants to see. Seems like he's pushing Viper back, doesn't really have the camels in the position there, and takes out the Trebs.
Yeah, those are very, very expensive losses for the Viper, and a little bit of mismanagement over there perhaps just too much taking place at the same time. Now it seems like the engagement is going to switch over the left-hand side. Well, Viper is there, and Vinchester is going and looking for trouble.
Yeah, I have to wonder if... I mean, Viper is Tato's teammate. I hope he does add in some heavy demos for these crossings at some point.
Yeah,
Get some nice demo shots there.
You got it!
There he goes, there he goes!
Oh, man.
Oh, he needs to use them, though. Oh, yeah, here he goes.
Vinchester! Good reaction.
He gets away.
Just barely, though.
Oh, I feel like Viper had a missed opportunity there.
I feel so too as well. Yesterday, was it yesterday? No, I think it might have been a different set. There was the Viper. I think it was the Viper versus his previous opponent in the lower bracket, where they had this game in 4 quarters, and the Viper. No, it wasn't 4 quarters. It was Lagoon. The Viper got just so much damage down with demos. I don't know if you saw that series.
I don't think I saw that. I did see Tato get some very nice demo shots, though. But I guess that's expected. And yeah, this is Nova.
Yeah. And this is indeed TUS, guys. Exclamation mark Hillcaster.
And I like the addition of these galleons. They kind of neutralize the camel archers as long as Viper keeps his army by the coast.
Yeah, and then on the left-hand side, the Viper's bringing a few Hussar over there, trying to push the villagers away from the stone, so he already spotted some of the economy from Vinchester. Now, the Galleon are good, but I think they're going to be mostly useful around the center, right? Which is what he wants to control, I guess.
Here come the demos.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, he doesn't really get anything.
Yeah. Just so juicy, though. Here he comes again!
That was a disappointing... Tato must be disappointed in him right now.
Looking down at the Viper right now from behind his computer screen.
Alright, this could be a good castle for Vinch, but you have to be careful because I saw Viper doing elite cannon galleon. And if he keeps controlling the water, yeah, there's a cannon galleon right there. Could be in range to take that castle out from this canal.
And this also opens up the water, so to say, for a stronger composition for the Viper, a combo over here, with which he'll make use of demolition ships to zone the units, the land units, out of water, and then the cannon galleon, of course, they're going to shred the fortifications, and so long as he's got canal control, as you said as well, should be able to take the castles down.
Yeah, and he's also getting back to the north with a few camels trying to do some raiding. Just these Byzantine camels are so cheap, you can keep pumping them out forever. And look at Viper's food eco. He has about 5,000 food collected.
Oh, check what Vinchester just finished researching, though.
Oh, he did heavy demo too.
Yeah.
So we might see some big demo ship shots soon.
Where are the docks, by the way, from Vinchester?
Where are the docks from Vinchester? He has one by his TC in the north, and I think that's it.
Well, that's gonna be underwhelming.
see
He's
anymore.
producing. Yeah, he's producing from that one only.
It's just so hard to get back on the water against the Byzantines once they've gotten their full fast fire army out.
Right now, we have for the Viper, for the most part, Galleon still. That should work out pretty well over here, but he's taking a lot of losses, though. The Camel Archers are actually doing pretty well.
Yeah, they are. Normally, the Navy does fairly well against land units, but it all depends on your numbers, right? When you have a good concentrated number of camel archers that can shoot down the galleys and focus them, then they can whittle the numbers away.
Yeah, it's very important, I think, for the Viper to try and keep a healthy amount of Galleon over here. Not only is it going to allow him to potentially snipe the demos from Vinchester before he gets a chance of approaching, but also, because of the canal being so narrow, if he was mainly on fires, he wouldn't be able to split or try to scatter his army against the demos either.
Yeah, and also it keeps the cannon galleons alive. You need that buffer in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit of a boat shield. Alright,
Leave him the demos.
let's see.
Viper reacts.
He does!
Okay, at least he hit something.
Yeah, those were still pretty decent though. And the Viper's gonna be left on only one cannon galleon.
Yeah, and Viper is just desperately trying to repair this castle. It is a Byzantine castle, so it has a lot of HP. But Vinch has been trebbing that down for a long time now.
Yeah,
And Viper probably needs to send more Vills, because Vinch has 3 Trebs out now.
Vinch also has
This castle might actually go down.
Vinch's got a pretty heavy raid going on the left-hand side though for a while. He's had the Hussar over here roaming around. He's already been able to get a bunch of villagers down.
Yeah, Viper's population is dropping. He's down to about 150.
This is not what I was expecting necessarily, given the civilizations in the late stage of the game, and the Vipers seem to struggle a little bit more, you know, to keep up with everything, and Vinchester has done a really good job. I especially like that he's not just focusing, he's not just tunneling at the center, but also has taken the time to send some extra units and start raiding as the Viper. Doesn't that being affected heavily by it?
Yeah, and Vinch is starting to take a bit of a score lead here, and has a few fast fires in the middle. You know, that castle in the middle, I was thinking that cannon galleons would be pretty good at taking it out, but he's managed to hold it and actually push Viper off of the middle and off of those 2 gold mines.
Yeah, true. The Viper is actually only now going to try to go after the castle once again with the cannon galleon. And these are elite, so these are probably as high range as you can get these. But still is not going to be enough with the camel archer over here. Vinchester's been able to zone those units out for the most part, the demo ships as well, fires.
Yeah, and you know, we're kind of at that point where when both players are at 200 pop, even though the Byzantines are so cheap, the Berbers do have the better units. So you see that reflected in the KD as Vinch has taken a huge KD advantage, and that's really pumping his score up.
Yeah, so long as the purple player can sustain production over here, he should be at an advantage over there. It's going to be a more pop efficient army, so to say. And what we just saw a moment ago with Vinchester sending the Hussar forward Really reminded me of a game that we saw from the Grand Malay qualifiers, where one player seemed to be significantly behind, but they recognized they had the chance of going for a counter-strike, and that allowed them to come back into the game. And Vinchester kind of started getting some momentum, and with the raid over there, started kind of solidifying his lead a little bit more, and TheViper's never been able to recover quite. You know, it's still far away from 200 pop.
Yeah, the thing is, Vinch has this huge army of camel archers that TheViper really doesn't have a way of killing. The Galleons will probably win a straight-up fight against them, but they don't have the mobility to just force them to stay away. The land army here is really making the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fair point. RP says TheViper has all 5 relics. That is true. 5 relics are going to
amount. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's going to amount to about, what, 6 fully upgraded gold miners, right? So Viper's economy would be kind of like 125 villagers, still lagging behind against Vinchester a little bit. And the center is so important because of having so much extra gold. So if Vinchester, and he takes the castle down the south, if he can get a hold of the center, that should be better, shouldn't it?
Yeah, well, if you look at the south of Viper's base, there's no castle there. There's nothing to stop Hussar raids from coming in.
Right.
I think Vinchester, if he can just keep the pressure up raiding Viper's eco, has got this. Viper had 5,000 food earlier, but now he's basically down to 0. Trying to add in, make a halb switch to stop the raids.
Yeah, indeed. Well, if he wasn't able to keep his food pile and now he's gone down to having almost no food, well, what are the chances he's going to be able to recover from this one? It seems to me as if it's going to be downhill for TheViper from here.
Yeah, and now we have more heavy demos coming in on the border for Vinch. Viper's not paying attention to his galleon mass. And the heavy demos might take them out. Oh, yes. Finally, a demo hit.
Okay, well, that was satisfying for all of the missed demo shots before.
And I think Vinch is slowly pushing here, and despite the 5 relics, Viper can't really keep his army numbers up now.
Yeah, and also
his camel archer is just being way too effective.
Exactly, and also Viper civilization, right? What do you want the gold for? He's going for cannon galleon and using the gold over there, bombard cannon as well, but nothing on land.
Yeah, now in the south, the camels are getting in and raiding Viper's farms. And Viper's eco, like his build number is dropping. I feel like Vinch has this.
I think so too. The Viper's very soon to drop under 100 villager for the first time in quite a while, and given his current economy, you take a look at the amount of workers, right? I don't think he'll be able to keep production going, and Vinchester, his current army should be good against what the Viper's got. The Viper's just going for pikemen, and Vinchester already has the camel archers.
Yeah, and you know, it feels like all this game, Viper never really had an answer to the camel archers. And Byzantines, they can go for skirmishers, but you kind of don't want to go for skirmishers when there's so many hussars out. And the camel archers here made a huge difference.
Has been so far a very, very well played game from Vinchester, and as the Vipers getting closer to drop into 100 population, I'm expecting the GG to be called here very soon indeed.
Yeah, I think he's still trying to hang on with those 5 relics, but it's just, there hasn't been a way for him to take out the camel archers.
What do you think is going to trigger the Viper to call the GG? Population drop or losing map control?
I don't know. Sometimes he calls very early GGs. Sometimes he likes to hang on. You never know what's going to happen with him.
True.
I feel like this is 74 hussars in the queue for Vinch. Yeah, that's a lot of food he has.
He's going full Hera here. Yeah, well,
Viper doesn't even have the gold for halb.
Yeah, exactly. And 144 population is just going to keep on dropping. Vinchester is going to keep at 200 basically locked. And the Vipers trying to hold over here, gonna try to go for a full trash army as his last stand. He does have some food and some wood, but he's losing production potential as well by dropping the barracks to the trebuchets.
Yeah, no, I feel like the galleons for Viper really haven't been all that effective. The camel archers have done a good job against them.
Yeah, absolutely. If you select all the galleon over here from the Viper, he's managed to get a very small amount of kills with these.
And now Viper has pikes out, and he's going to try to use them to come back. He might be hoping that this final trash unit switch is enough for him, as he's doing elite skirm too. And well, if Viper didn't have 5 relics, I think this would be completely over. But maybe he's hoping that those relics if this game can drag out for an extra hour with Byzantine trash, maybe then he could clean this up. With some pikemen, he has secured the bottom of his base from those hussar raids, but now it's Vinchester who has the water. Now those cannon galleons are out of position.
You know, the Viper is gonna want to keep the docks up, right? What do you think about the possibility of Vinchester going for a few trade cogs if he runs out of gold at the center?
That's actually... I mean, he is Berbers, right? That's actually not the worst idea. Oh gosh, that is actually a brilliant idea on this map.
Yeah, because the Viper loses his water presence, which he has for the most part, right? How does he ever reclaim the map back? Because he might be able to hold on. Let's say that he gets 200 population again with, pikes, manages to go for halberdier somewhat, and then skirmishers. He needs to push back at some point, so you still want to keep the docks up for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, look at this at the south, right? Viper has that one dock at the bottom. Vinch could make his own dock in the corner and go straight for the trade cog.
Yeah,
Viper can delete his docks if trade cogs come out, but that in itself would be a win for Vinchester because that would take Viper completely off the water. As we see, he's still trying to make those cannon galleons.
All right. Where is he going for? The cannon galleon from? It's gonna be exposed though, I think.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly enough, this map is just you have such a straight trade line that's actually might be a reasonable idea.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Vinchester doesn't need to worry about it for the time being. He's got, 15 gold miners still.
Demo doesn't hit anything.
Oh, where was it?
It was in the north. Viper had that huge trash army almost hit by a demo.
You took it down with the skirmishers?
Yeah, the skirmishers got it.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll see more for Vinchester, so he's going to have chances.
Yeah. So now we're getting to the point where the gold in the middle is running out, and the gold on all of the map is running out. And Vinchester is doing supplies.
Yeah, scale mail armor.
Berbers do have a decent swordsman line. I gotta check what their upgrades are.
Yeah, they get pretty much everything. They have, I believe, fully upgraded champion.
Let me check this tech tree.
All right.
Yeah, so they have... Oh, they actually have a full blacksmith. They have champions... Yeah, they have fully upgraded champions.
We have chainmail armor and lone swordsman upgrade coming up. And Vinchester does kind of need to hurry a little bit because he has effectively run out of gold already. If you take a look at the resource view on the map,
yeah.
Where is he getting gold from? He's not.
He's not. He has 0 on gold. And so far, Viper has been using those cannon galleons to try to snipe off the trebs and keep that castle alive. That castle's in danger of going down. He doesn't have much stone left to repair. And finally, with the skirms, he might be able to push into the camel archers. Now we're getting to the point of the game where Byzantines start to shine with their cheaper trash and the fact that they have 5 relics. And Berber, they definitely had the more population-efficient army composition, but it's going to be hard for Vinch to replace. You might have 120 hussars queued, but they're going to be running straight into halbs.
Yeah, he needs to keep his army of camel archers alive over here, and Viper's done a really good job focusing with the skirmishers at the center to take the camel archers down specifically and just ignore every other unit type. So Vinchester's army has gone down significantly for camel archers, only 14 left.
Yeah. And this Byzantine castle just barely staying alive. Viper, I think he needs to send more bills to repair. The second Treb now comes in for Vinch. These cannon galleons from Viper are so crucial for sniping the Trebs.
Yeah, the second Trebuchet is going to take the castle down over here. You know, the Viper's done a really good job over here, so to say, bottoming the market, because now Vinchester, he's got a lot of wood, but he's not going to get too much gold out of it.
Vinch is trying so hard to snipe off that cannon galleon. But with 2 Trebs, Viper doesn't have enough vills repairing. You need about 7 vills per Treb.
There we
when
go.
This castle goes down, the front of Viper, there it goes. And, well, I guess the worrying thing is now, maybe those Trebs could even snipe off that monastery, force Viper to move the relics back.
I'm telling you, man. Trade cogs. Where are they?
Yeah, he shouldn't be destroying those docks. I mean, he has 600 gold left. It actually, I think would be a good idea. He has the water control. Just add in 1, see how Viper reacts to it. But just like maybe he wouldn't even notice if he traded along the bottom of the map.
Indeed, and well, it's just going to be full Hussar over here for Vinchester. As you said, running straight into the hub of the year is not going to work. I wonder, maybe if we can keep the Viper at the very least, if we can contain the yellow player and keep him in this one stripe of land towards the southwest, perhaps maybe he can play for wood control?
You know, that's a good point, because all the wood is in the north right by Vinchester's castles.
Yeah, actually, how much wood do we have left for the Viper?
I mean, he still has several thousand wood in these trees.
Yeah.
But it's not like tens of thousands like Vinch probably has.
Yeah, most likely. Vinch is also getting away with a lot of damage down the south. He brings the remaining Camel Archers and the Hussar, and they're actually doing a remarkable job, bringing the Viper down to 84 workers.
Yeah, but you know, he's down to 80 villagers, but he's still housed at his pop limit.
He is?
Yep, he has to run the relics now.
Oh. True. He is a 200 population, but take a look at the queue for the Viper and the resources he's got right now. Vinchester might actually have pushed the Viper past the point of not being able to sustain his production to stay at 200 population, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think this Hussar raid from the north, it might finally clear out enough vills. We have the final Ring Archer armor, but it's full of Byzantine's trash at this point. No more camels, just Halb and Skirm.
We have some 200 swordsmen coming out. The champion upgrade just hit for Vinchester.
And Vinch still has 7,000 wood in the bank already.
Let's see. Here comes the raid.
And you know, I do have to wonder, you know, on this map, the shallows are pretty big, but maybe there's some way Viper could have gone for some type of fortified wall to stop some of these raidings down in the south. Is this entire game, he's been losing villagers under those TCs to these Hussars, even with the Halbs there.
Yeah, it's technically still better for Vinchester so long as he pays attention to the units and is able to utilize the mobility to stay away from Viper's defenses, right? It's just very hard to do, but on paper, should be possible.
Yeah, and now with these Hussars, it's going to be difficult for Viper to bring the relics to his back monastery. He needs to be careful of the monks getting sniped.
True. He's got the 2 remaining relics kind of exposed over there, and Vinchester's managed to bring Viper's worker count down further to 64 workers, but the Viper's still on close to 200 population. Come on, man.
Byzantines are so cheap.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have been possible with any other civilization. Maybe just Jairus, I think.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see all the changes for the new patch?
I did see the changes. I thought the Well, first Rex work, that's the big one. And you can ungarrison your allies' buildings now.
Yeah.
And you have allied vision in team games. Of all the bounce changes, though, I don't feel like they really affect much other than, like, obvious the bug fixes and the allied vision.
Oh, I like the change.
If they are on the patch version, this is the most recent one.
Yes, I like the changes for the Chakram though. They are by default a little bit weaker, but they retain the identity with the pierce through damage being a little bit stronger now. So you still are going to be able to use them, and you know, in some contexts they are still going to be very strong, but by default and individually they are not quite as strong anymore.
Yeah. And Viper's still trying to hold on, but now he doesn't really have a way of killing those champions. No more cataphracts from those castles either. And the champion switch might finally be what is able to finish him off.
Yeah. There you go. Love the army from Vinchester over here. It's so strong. Against what the Viper's got.
Yeah, and we see Viper trying to add in another TC on the left, get his Vil count back up, but now his population has really dropped.
Yeah, I think he was able to drag this out a lot more than I thought he was going to. Either that or Vinchester struggled to seal the deal, right? But now it seems like the Viper, given his current worker count, won't be able to bounce back anymore, and he's gonna have to make a choice. Does he want to go for economy once again, try to get his villager count up so that he can afford to go for military units, or does he want to use whatever meager economy he's got currently to go for as many military units?
Yeah, it is really hard to finish the Byzantines off with how cheap their trash is. And no, Viper, he's still clinging to the hope that 5 relics will let him survive. I mean,
Interesting.
His food count, he has 80 farmers, and he's able to pump out these Hussars forever, and he has the wood control. The question is Hussar, even 60 of them, enough to finish off the Byzantines? I feel like it should be, but Viper somehow still has halbs.
Yeah, I think it should be indeed, because he's been able to, you know, take the Viper down slowly but surely for the last 10-15 minutes, but the champion make a big difference, and because Vinchester's got so much control of wood and he still has so much wood left, he can use the market and go for a bunch more if he needs to as well, although he doesn't seem to be prioritizing that yet.
How many? He has 61 Hussars down here raiding.
Taking the TCs down. Poor man's paladin
Kill
push.
TCs with the Hussars.
Yeah! And Byzantine TCs at that.
Yep.
Oh god. Who comes up on top over here? TOS. Viper Vinchester.
Oh, dude, that's a lot of halbs there. He's got 32 halbs there. Viper's gonna win this fight.
Oh.
It's like when you play the campaigns and your opponents have like infinite resources. You just gotta spam until they die. That's what Viper is right now. He's one of those infinite resource AIs.
Yeah.
He's just gonna have halbs forever.
True. I like to check Viper's wood situation from time to time, and he doesn't seem to have quite as much anymore. He's got a little clump on the back of his base, but for the most part he's gonna try to rely on the very, like in the westmost wood over here. If Vinchester realizes about it,
Yeah.
and Vinchester's bringing a bunch of ramps over here in champions, he's going to knock the Viper out of that wood right away.
Well, we'll see. Viper's bringing his skirmishers over, and with Byzantine skirms, anything's possible. It could be an army of champions, rams, and hussars. And Viper still wants to take that fight. Has a few hand cannoneers mixed in, too. Just trying to snipe the champions. I don't see him winning this fight. He's gonna run, and then he's not gonna have any wood.
Yeah.
Well, he has some wood right in the middle.
Yeah, that's the last
He's
clan that
being
he's
hussar
got.
raided.
Somewhat secure, yeah. And what a great game to start the series with. This is the best of 5, and game number 1 is already 1
Well,
hour
I
and
don't know
20
if it's
minutes.
a great game so much as Viper holding on like an hour after he should have resigned. But it certainly is
Right.
a long one. Gonna make Vinch work for it.
Oh man, oh crap, I just realized. I'm sorry about this. The game has been going for so long actually that Twitch is running a commercial automatically. RIP.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Well, Vinchester still has enough units queued up to remain for the most part of 200 population. And the Viper's got just halberdiers, got some hand cannoneer. He's been able to clean Vinchester up on the left hand side once again. But they're still in a very rough position. It's just that he's just so hard to kill. Vinchester's struggling so much to seal the deal, but it seems like as if the game had been over, as you said, for the last, what, 30 minutes, perhaps?
Yeah. Well, he has another huge charge of Hussars, and he might kill another TC with them. The Viper has 6 villagers on wood, and that's his entire economy. He's down, I mean, he's still at 160 pop. He's not dead yet.
You know, it's a little bit later for Vinchester, but not by too much compared to the Viper. I don't think that the Viper's trying to wear Vinchester out, right?
No, I don't think so. Sometimes Viper just gets in these modes where he doesn't resign and he makes his opponent work for it.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, he has a
Well,
bunch of halbs now.
I'll tell you one thing though, this is a lot of pro player time bought by the prize pool of this tournament, so I'd be pretty happy if I were in the host's shoes. Yeah, that's another TC going down. Viper keeps on
Does
losing
Viper have
ground.
any TCs? Oh, he does. Wait. He has 2 TCs right in the middle of his base. Even healing with a monk.
Yeah, well, you know, I would probably like to see Vinchester try and hunt the monastery. I don't know if he... Does he have vision of the monastery? Does he know where the relics are?
And I think he does. I mean, he destroyed the monastery earlier with his trebs, but Viper ran the relics away.
True. Alright. Vinchester is gonna start adding some skirmishers himself, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Vinch can just hunt TCs with the Hussars, and eventually, like, Viper doesn't have the stone to rebuild them.
Ah, fair point, yeah. The Viper's playing
But
kind of like tower defense over here with units.
yeah, time to wall in the monastery.
Yeah, or go,
That's true. Viper
Did you
Viper
see...
probably watched back Ruben Andre several times to see all the mistakes they made and figured out how you can drag a game out forever.
Did you see that NBL game from the Grammarly qualifier, the Arena one?
Oh, the Turks one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Viper doesn't have the
He
resources
just
to
made
go for
bombard
it.
towers.
But if he could, you can bet your body he'd probably be going for something like that.
Oh, Viper must feel like this game still isn't over.
Well, I think so, right? Otherwise... Oh, it's not skirmishes, Janitor. Okay.
It is Genitor.
That's a unit you don't see very often.
Yeah. He's just like, Vinch doesn't have any gold. Maybe I could somehow survive after several hours. I mean, he's still kind of staying high on population. He has enough halbs he can keep running around against the Hussars. I feel like, you know, maybe more of a skirm switch would be better. And see, Genitors do have that +2 against the pikes. So maybe the Genitor is the unit Vinch needs finally to clean up the Viper.
You know, I'm taking a look at the at the resources from Vinchester. He's gone down from about, what was it, like 7,000 wood to about 2,000 wood over here. He doesn't have a whole lot of food left, although he's got a lot of farmers. but food alone
Yeah.
is not going to be enough for him to go for anything other than Hazard. And the Viper's being able to still stay at close to 200 population, so... Can the Viper actually do this?
Well, he does have 5 relics and he has Byzantines. Sometimes that's all you need. It still feels like if Vinchester could only get to that wood line on the left, then Viper would be completely out of it. Oh, here comes a demo. I guess a few halbs.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the demo detonates over there, takes the half down, and we see Vinchester immediately lose, like, I don't know, 10 Hazard on the left-hand side, as if it was affected by the demos, but that's just the defense from Viper. Just as effective. I don't think the Janitors are working, man.
I don't think they are. And
They're
could
gonna push
Viper actually
back.
be pushing this?
Yeah? No way!
Good,
And this is huge for the Viper. If he wins ground on the left-hand side, he's got access to a lot of extra wood to sustain his production as well.
Yeah, he does. Vinch has a Treb there. And I have to wonder, no, Vinch was just spamming Hussars without any type of siege in the back. I feel like adding a Treb or two here and there, or even a couple of cannon galleons on the water, would have been a much better play for him. Because think about this, if he had cannon galleons, what would Viper have to kill them? Right? He has no presence on the water anymore. He has no docks.
Yeah, exactly. A few cannon galleon, perhaps maybe a few demos to protect those against melee units, then the Viper would only be able to try and snipe those with skirmishers, perhaps. But then Vinchester has the Hazard, right?
Yeah, and this is Byzantine's trash.
I can't believe it! The Viper's actually pushing Vinchester back, and Vinchester tries to
Rams.
go for the raid on the back over here, but he'll probably end up getting cleaned up by the Viper again.
Yeah. And, you know, part of me thinks, you know, Vinch had been pushing that, like, all those farms to raid in the south. Maybe he really just needed to focus controlling that wood in the north, instead of going for the kill, just trying to play for the longer wood control game.
Yeah, I think that would have been better. Because the Viper, he was only going to run out of wood from the south up to the north, so if Vinchester cut Viper's progression on land on the left-hand side, then he would have been able to prevent him from still being able to train the units too. As opposed to taking the TCs down that weren't really protecting anything other than farms.
Yeah, and, you know, the other thing is Vinch might have just needed those skirmishers earlier. He was going pure Hussar into Halb.
You know, well, the Viper seems to be... Obviously, he will need, at all times, some villagers, right? But it almost seemed as if he was going for a 200 army challenge over here of sorts. Vinchester still struggles to keep up. He's no longer.
If you look at that KD, it's closed a lot. Vinch was earlier like consistently about 100 ahead, but now Viper has closed that up a lot. And as the Byzantines, normally you're the civ that's playing with the negative KD. So to be this close, it feels actually like Viper might actually have the better eco at this point. Despite having 67 vills, that's all he needs to spam this trash.
That's true. And the sea trams, they're just so sick in this situation. One thing that the Viper needs, though, is try and get a little bit of extra wood over here and send some villagers over to get some extra production buildings for, because now the travel time for the units from the Viper is starting to get a little bit too high. Vinchester might be able to defend because of it.
Yeah, I think Viper might be a bit over-aggressive with his rams there. He doesn't quite have the halbs in position to defend them. And Vinch is gonna keep this castle up.
Yeah, but now the Viper, what? How does he...
Flying stone. And he has wood now.
He
And
tanked
as long
his
as Viper has
economy.
wood, he's at the game.
Yeah, he's tanked his economy to get the castle, but this castle gives him so much extra...
And he still has one ram.
Yeah. Wow. Can't believe it.
Yeah, and that castle's huge because not only does it give him wood, it gives him a trebuchet.
True. I can't believe it. The Viper might actually be pulling this off. He's got some momentum. And Vinchester is going to try and go for the raids once again. And this is actually, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Because the Viper sent the units all the way from his base up to the northwest, he actually has Halberdier at, you know, in position at all times. He can bring just a few over to the left.
Yeah. And, well, now Viper... He does have a bigger area to defend now because he needs to both protect his farms and his wood lines, and he's not going to be all in like one spot where he can just have a few halbs here and there. He needs to spread them out more. But with this castle, he can sell resources, buy one treb, and Vinch doesn't have the eco to buy a treb right now.
He might be able to, but he would kind of bottom his economy, right? If he sells the majority of the wood.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. People are telling me I hear a static sound. Chat, tell me, does it sound like if it's the game or one of our mics? Because I might just need to rejoin Discord. Yeah, actually, I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to leave Discord, and I'm just going to restart it, and I'll rejoin the call.
All right. I just tried to make sure that it wasn't mine, and I don't know if it is. Hopefully it's not.
So thank you, Paxker, Edukval, and Edmund3D for the follows.
Is it better now, by the way?
Yeah, chat, let me know if it's better now. I just rejoined the Discord call. And anyway, we have Viper with one treb now, and he needs to keep the treb alive. And they say it's better. Good.
Okay.
Viper has a treb, a ram, and a dream.
Yeah, 125 freaking units as well. Vinchester's been struggling to get past 60 military. Let's see.
So now Viper has significantly more wood. There's still some wood in the middle. And I wonder if, you know, Vinch, all this game he was trying to raid and raid and raid with Hussars and go for the kill instead of the slow, long game wood control. And I think that was his big mistake.
Yeah, and I would say it's probably very hard to blame him for that, because who would have thought the Viper would be able to put himself in this position? If I were in Vinchester's shoes an hour ago, I probably think that the game is pretty much over and I just need to keep on putting pressure, and eventually the Viper is going to crumble. Not so much about where necessarily to go and try to cut Viper's expansion, but in the end Viper is able to make it work. Now, I'm wondering if it would be smart from the Viper to start sending some of the Halberdier potentially up to the north and start raiding Vinchester a little bit too.
Yeah, I think Viper's content just to go for a slow push and force Vinch to fight him. Like, if you look at the KD, Viper now has the lead.
Right.
And Vinch can keep running those Hussars wherever he wants, but Viper's army is so cheap, he doesn't need an eco to produce it. Now he's on 72 Vils and 200 pop. And that's, you know, when we still had the gold in the game, that's where the Berber's army was able to be more population efficient with the camel archers. But when the gold runs out, that's where the Byzantines are more efficient just because they need fewer villagers.
Oh, I also love the idea of walling over here for the Viper. The quick walls did not really work out over there too well, but once he cleans out the Hussar, actually it wouldn't be the worst for the Viper to go for a few passes over here, just have some peace of mind and keep on focusing just on pushing.
Honestly, wouldn't mind seeing Viper actually wall in the monastery just to make sure Hussars don't raid it.
Yeah, true. True. Completely agree. And if the Viper ends up pulling this one off, I think that's going to be one of the nastiest comeback that I have ever seen.
Absolutely. And no, he has siege now, he has rams, he has treb. I gotta check, what is his relic gold so far? He has 11,000 relic gold.
Oof. Oh man. And Vinchester, I would imagine he probably collected more resources total.
Let me check. If you look at food, he has 137,000 food to 84,000. But the food has been hussars that died to halves.
Yeah. So it's not being quite as efficient, right? The Viper's being able to get more cost-efficient trades with the Halberdier.
Right.
Well, it just goes to show, if anybody ever had any questions about Byzantines being a very cost-effective civilization, especially in late-game situations, this is probably a living testament of that.
Now you're in like the full trash war, where, I mean, Berbers, they do have the upgraded blacksmith, but see, they don't have halb, right? They only have pikemen, if I recall. Yeah, they only have pikemen.
Yeah, the
So
Viper,
Byzantines
man.
have all 3 trash units.
He's going for champion.
He's doing his own champions.
Yeah, and unlike Vinchester, he's not gonna need to sell any resources over here. And the champions are pretty cheap. With 5 relics, he should be... It's not going to take too long for him to get enough gold to get a pretty decent amount of champion out.
And Byzantine champions, they only miss Blast Furnace. Other than that, they're fully upgraded.
Yeah, I think so. Indeed. Well...
Viper has the score lead.
Champion and what would you like the Viper to keep? Champion and skirmishers or champion and halberdier for the most part? Or just full
Champion in both, really. You want to have, I think, all 3 trash units in the trash fight.
Right.
Or at least 2 of the 3, if possible.
Definitely
or at
do
least
not want
maybe
to...
not the hussars with the Byzantines, because the halb and skirm are cheaper. But champions along with both of these.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So it's going to be a matter of Viper balancing his economy properly. Balancing his military properly, and that should be good. If he were to replace the halberdier with champion, then the hussar become more effective. So he needs to keep those up, and against the skirmishers. Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, this will be a nice wall. Also needs to wall the shallows a bit, but if he can just stop these raids, he can keep all of his halbs forward. And since he has the much larger military population, he's going to be winning these fights. What's that weird blue dock spot? This is a bridge terrain, and there's water under the bridge that is blue. Let me check. If I look at that in the game, oh yeah, it still looks like that in the game. These are some custom maps with some custom objects on them, and they have some oddities like that.
Yeah, some of the maps have unique features as well. Coral Islands, notably, right, with the ability to go for sea towers as well. Certainly you get to see some things you don't get to see every day with these maps.
Yeah. And well, at this point now, Vinch does have the population lead. Viper down to 61 bills. That is probably not quite enough. I think he does need a few more. And needs to find some way to stop these hussar raids into his wood lines. Yes, he did a great job of securing more wood, but this wood won't last forever. It's only a few thousand. Here come the champions.
Yeah, he needs to gain more ground. The champion are going to be the perfect unit for that. Still needs the champion upgrade, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't have the gold for that, though. Just gonna have to stick with the two-handed swordsman.
Do you know why he would send those alone, though? Was that a misclick, probably?
There's just so much you gotta micro at this point.
Alright, Vinchester.
What I'm really wondering is why Viper doesn't add the palisade wall by that shallows.
Yeah, he needs to go for the walls over there, and honestly, I wouldn't really blame him if he extended the palisades all the way down to the stables over there and potentially up to the aqueducts, and maybe just try to close it.
Yeah. Or even like wall the south too.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's closed.
Indeed. He's still the one putting pressure though, for the most part. Trebuchets, 2 trebuchets now. So deadly.
Yeah, and Vinch can't run through to the trebuchets. It's just Byzantines with... This is Byzantines with 5 relics.
Absolutely,
man. Should have been over a while ago. Well, I feel like Vinch just didn't play the Hussar rating correctly. He just kept throwing Hussars to their deaths.
Yeah, once again, there isn't really a whole lot of like, he probably didn't have too much experience in games like these, right? These happen once in a millennia, so to say. Vinchester probably didn't know what to go for in that specific situation. He definitely could have taken the game, that is true. But very hard to know
now
what to do.
180 Hussar in the queue.
Right. And still unable to do significant damage, still unable to push, so... Like, he could have 5,000 in the queue, right? But if he's unable to break through the defenses from the Viper, what good is that?
200 Hussar in the queue.
Yeah, you got it.
At least not pulls, those won't be winged Hussars. They'll just be normal Berber, fully upgraded, but dying to help Hussars.
Before,
he keeps pushing.
Yeah, and he keeps on gaining ground as well. Now, notice that he's going for the center as well. He's gonna try and take the stables down to try and get some of the extra wood over there. Because after he runs out of the wood that he's got on the left-hand side, protected by the castle, what else do we have in the map available? Vinchester has also been collecting a lot. We only have what's in the center left island, and then what's left in the north, right?
Yeah, and if there's a patch of berries, maybe someone will mill them eventually. Take as much efficiency as you can get.
Yeah, honestly, wouldn't be against it. Do we have docks still for the players?
Vinch's docks.
Viper?
Maybe it's time for Viper to add in those sneaky trade cogs.
Ah, that'll be 500 IQ. Because you know there's so much happening right now in the game that God knows how long it would take for Vinchester to realize about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're about to hit 2 hours into the game, so I think this one game might have lasted the entire length of a best of 5 normally.
I was just about to say that, as we see a trebuchets go down over here. Nice knife from Vinchester. Before the stream started...
down, but champion upgrade.
Oh yeah, 35 seconds away. Before the stream started, I was reporting some bugs with a piece of software that I use for my stream, and the dev was there, and we were trying to troubleshoot some stuff. And then the series was going to begin, so I said, yeah, I need to go and stream right now. I'll be back probably in about 2 hours. And I think I might have misled that person.
This might be more than 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's very unlikely we're going to see all 5 games be this long. The maps that we have in the map pool, they are not all going to lend themselves to this kind of game.
Well, Viper can only pick Byzantines once.
True.
But Vinch can pick them still.
Maybe the Viper could play with Burgundian Vineyards. A similar game.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or like with Poles and the Folvarki.
Ah, true. Yeah. Oh, the Poles also got changed, right? Now they don't get quite as much gold from stone, I think.
Well, it's the Folvark that really matters long term.
Yeah, but it's not going to give you as much free gold, right? Because it's going to get less from the total amount of
it's still
stone.
you're doing the farms and you're selling it. The stone only, like the stone runs out eventually, but the Folvarks last like 2-3 hours. You'll just get so much more food.
Yeah, true. Wait, how long?
No, the Folvarks just like the longer the game lasts, you get what is it? Heavy plow, horse collar, and crop rotation, and you get so much more food than anyone else does.
Oh, yeah. I just... Sorry, I mixed it up with something else. Because I heard you say 3 hours. For a moment, I thought you were talking about Sicilians over there. And how long the farms...
Oh, yeah, Sicilian farms.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be that long anyway.
Not more than Sicilians in the long run, but much faster.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah. Well, as my chat says, Viper has 73 vills, but that's because he's the Byzantines and his army isn't expensive.
Yeah,
I mean, Vich might even try to... Like, Vich has 200 Hussars queued up. It might be time for him to delete some of his vills and go down to a lower pop.
Yeah, and then he can just go for extra villagers if he notices the queue dropping and the food not being enough to keep up as well. Besides, he already has the farms, right? So he doesn't really need to worry about that. So the Viper's been on 73 villages, even lower than that actually in the past, down to 63 or something for the best part of the last hour, I think, or so.
Yeah, well, Viper has now dropped to about 120 pop, and Vinch is pushing again. I think this lack of eco finally might start to come back to hurt Viper. And looks like it is going to go down to wood. And Vinch has finally wised up a bit to not sending his hustlers to their death in Viper's eco.
Yeah. And the Viper's got
Now Viper's pop
2,000.
has dropped.
Yes. Once again, he's struggling to keep up with population, and he does have 2,000 wood, but he doesn't have anywhere near as much food to keep the production going quite as heavily. And Vinchester, on the other hand, Vinchester's got much more wood in the bank already compared to the Viper, and he's got more lumberjacks as well, so it seems like it might come down to wood control, and if that's the case, the Viper might end up losing this one, and we might have seen an hour and a half of extra game for the same result.
We might have. And no, here come the hustler raids again. Viper down to 61 vills. And you know, this entire time he only has 3 TCs, so it is hard for him to replenish his vill numbers.
Yeah. Fair point.
And
well,
wait a minute. He has 3 relics in that monastery. He moved 2 of the relics to the monastery by his castle just to keep them safe.
yes. And well, the Vipers seems like he's going to finally drop under 100 population very soon. That's usually about a threshold. I notice players call the GG after.
Yeah. Well, he's not done. He's adding in another TC. He's trying to keep his health numbers up.
Well, he did look dead before, right? So it's worth a shot, I guess.
Yep, he did. And he still does have a tiny bit of wood in the back. But again, we see those hussars running across those shallows that Viper hasn't walled, and I don't know why he only walled one part and not the other part.
There we go.
That TC might go down right away. Back up to 140 pop, but not quite the numbers he needs yet.
Here he comes. He's got some more champion coming in. I love to see it. Mixed in with the Halberdier is going to make it very, very effective. He's got the Ram over there. He's pushing Vinchester back. Yeah, and going up in population again. Very close to 150 again.
Yeah, Viper needs to hold a bit to get his pop up. He's now up to 74 vills. And that TC will stay up.
You know...
And well, now I think we gotta look. How much wood does Vinchester have left? He's starting to run out too, right? Like, this map might run out of wood.
Yeah, and I still think Treycog over here might not be the worst idea. Vinchester does have a lot of extra wood on the center island, though, where he's got the stables and the siege workshops.
Yeah, Viper had been pushing the island a bit with some halbs, but wasn't really able to take out any of the buildings. And once again, those hussars from those stables able to run and get into Viper's eco. I mean, a few halbs there, here and there to clean it up, but Viper keeps losing vills to them. Up to 84 vills, though, and 170 pop again, so he's right back in this game.
Back from the dead. Back from the dead, man. And definitely still wondering why the Viper hadn't thought of closing his map with the walls. Especially now that he's kind of moved further to the left and he's got just one corner to protect a little bit easier. He doesn't need to worry about going for a full wall covering the entire southwest stripe of land.
And look at that KD. Viper is now just slowly pulling ahead there, about 2,500 to 2,300. I feel like the hustle raids really aren't being that effective for Vinch still.
That's the thing, right? And that's why it's been so hard for Vinchester to seal this one as well. Viper's just so cost effective. He pays less resources for units, and getting a better KD over here against Vinchester actually puts the Viper in a much better position than the KD would have you believe with any other civilization, because the Vipers actually paid for what would be the equivalent of 2,000 units only, compared to Vinchester, who's actually paid full price for all the units he's gone for and all the units he's lost.
Camels don't work here? Well, camels, you don't have gold for camels anymore. We had lots of camels earlier in the game, for sure, but no longer.
Ah, right. So the Viper, this is actually kind of smart. I'm not really sure if it's going to be what he needed, but it seems to make sense, right? A few camels in the back, having the mobility to catch up with the Hussar a little bit easier would allow him to defend more effectively than having to bring the Hussar. But now he seems to be bringing these forward, though.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point. The mobility of the camels to chase down the Hussar is better than the Halbs. So if you were them in the back, but you probably don't want to be wasting that gold forward dying to skirms.
Chat's correct, by the way. Yeah, the Berbers, they get 20% cheaper Hussar, so they are not paying full price for those specifically. They are paying full price for the pikemen and for the skirmishers, true.
Yeah. And this is where I wonder, maybe Viper should add in, I know he doesn't have Bloodlines or Blast Furnace, but maybe a few Hussars of his own just to help deal with the skirms would be a good idea.
Maybe?
I guess the camels kind of fill the same role and might even be cheaper, considering he has 5 relics.
Yeah, that's the thing. The camels are working out pretty well over here, and Vinchester only gets to pikemen, and because these are heavy camels, the pikemen are actually not quite as effective.
Yeah, and now with the camels, Viper, finally with a gold unit, is able to push a bit. I'm just going to check the relic gold again. And it's at 15,000 relic gold for Viper. And with a positive KD. But Vinch now in the middle of the map, chopping wood.
Arbit says, this set has already taken longer than yesterday's best of 7. Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but it's probably going to end up lasting longer. How long have you been live for, TUS? I had to restart my stream, so I don't have accurate information.
An hour and 30 minutes.
Okay. Alright. So we're about halfway through.
So the thing about this is Vinch has 270 Hussars queued. I feel like at some point he should unqueue some of them and sell some food for gold. And I don't know what he does with that gold, but I would think a couple of cannon galleons just to shoot down these buildings from the Viper from the shore would be a good investment.
It might be. But you gotta wonder right now.
Because he also has 120 elite skirms queued. And he has 5k food and wood in the bank.
Yeah. In the long run, it seems as if Vinchester should be in a better position over here, but that's been the case for the last hour and a half. If you are in Vinchester's position, though, what kind of mind state do you find yourself in?
I don't know. I mean, how often do you get to that position? Oh, Viper still has a sheep left trying to walk off the edge of the map. That's cute. I don't know where that's going. Do you see that one sheep in the corner? It's like he's walking, but he's going off the edge of the map.
In the corner of the Viper?
Yeah, like on the left side.
No. Oh! I see it now. True. Yeah, it doesn't want to see this nonsense anymore.
You think Vinch can't lose right now? I think Viper's gonna run out of wood, and then Vinch finally might take it. Just all that wood Viper secured up here just prolonged the game. But Vinch's bank is just so huge. Because remember, he has had 128 vills working this entire time, so he has been collecting more resources than Viper has.
Yeah, I think the only way in which the Viper is able to hold on over here for a little bit longer would be if he ends up getting control of the wood at the center, but Vinchester's already been collecting quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
And even that would buy the Viper a little bit of extra time, but Vinchester's got so many units queued up that I don't know if the Viper, even by collecting all the wood over there, will be able to match Vinchester's production.
Is Viper taking wood in the south? No, there is no more wood in the south. Viper just has a bunch of farms down here that he can't use. And at some point, trying to reclaim the farms might even be a way for Viper to save wood.
Yeah, he would have to use the market.
Oh, second island? Oh, he is. He has 3 villagers on the second island. And Vinch is going to build a lumber camp there and try to find those lumberjacks. Vinch has 1 build there too.
Yeah, right. Where are the villagers from Vinchester? Oh, there we go.
It feels like Viper's pop is dropping now and he's unable to replenish it.
Once again, getting very close to the 100 population or so threshold over here. The Viper should realize, given the amount of units he's got queued up and the amount of resources he's got, the economy he's got, he won't be able to get to 200 population anytime soon. It seems like Vinchester will finally be able to take this one down, but what an interesting game. I think that's a fair way to put it.
Yeah. What if Viper buys wood now? You know, that's a fair point. What if instead of doing these camels or that champion switch, Viper had actually been using that relic gold to buy wood and food?
Given that Vinchester's got more access to wood, then he probably would have been able to use that to sell his own wood and get better gold exchange too, right?
That's true.
It's kind of a...
Yeah. It's the type of game where the trade cogs might have worked. Anything's possible.
I'm telling you, man. Trade cogs over here would have won the game. Hey! Vinchester realized about the Viper, by the way. Notice, he's taking the villagers away from the wood.
Oh yeah, he realized Viper's there. Oh, those are low HP vills. He could just knock them down with his own vills.
Yeah, true. He's bringing the one pikeman.
Yeah, and well, you know, there are a few of these cypress trees dotting the edges of these canals that could still be taken. It feels like Viper, well, he's back up to 200 pop. But Vinch's bank, he's got 270 Hussar queued, 109 skirms, and 5k of each resource, and 1500 gold.
And the Viper's got...
It feels like this is starting to become inevitable that he will push this.
Yeah, indeed. The Viper's got 22 units queued up. He's got almost no economy to keep on queuing more units. He's got to 200 population, but where is the army, by the way? Where's the majority of the units? The Viper's bringing them to defend. But you'd be expecting him to be pushing at this stage with the army count.
He does have the bigger army count. Oh, but look at that. Vinch finally sold some stuff at the market, and he now has 1 bombard cannon. And with that cannon, he can start pressuring this castle. And if there's one thing Viper can't do, it is repair the castle with 0 stone. And Viper's even going to lose some of those camels to pikemen.
He does, but he takes the bombard cannon down, and the castle's going to stay.
Vinch deleted 30 vills and added 30 more hussars to raid. I think if Vinch unqueued hussars, sold all of his food, then just did cavaliers, which are cheaper for the Berbers, he would probably have the army to overwhelm this.
That seems right.
And then you would still have like several thousand food left over after selling a bit.
Yeah, and you could potentially try to go for 100+ cavalier army, and once the units start going down, he can replenish that with villagers again.
Now Viper, go into the middle again with some vills. Go into the last wood on the map. But can't get there. Vinch is there.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we're finally getting to the end of the game. I don't know if we are going to get to 2.5 hours. I know that's kind of a risky thing to say at this stage, but realistically, the Viper doesn't really have the resources to queue too many units, and Vinchester's push over here should be pretty strong.
Yeah, you know, I once played a 3.5-hour Byzantine mirror, so these games can last for a long time.
Oh god.
Oh, Viper wants to TC. And KD, I mean, Viper, it's one of those strange games where the Byzantines have the better KD, but it's at sacrifice of eco with all those vills that Vinch has.
Yeah, now Vinchester's gotta send everything he's got down the south and once again try to cut Viper's access to wood over here. That's the one thing that the Viper is desperately trying to get. given the fact he's got no access to wood otherwise.
Yeah, and Vinch is getting trebs out. Let's see where the second one is. Oh, there it is. So Viper added a TC. Vinch is trebbing it, but ooh, that treb might be a bit too far forward.
Maybe we need a meat shield over here. He's bringing the Hussar a little bit too late, though. I think the trip is going down.
Oh, no.
He's got the other one still.
Viper quick walling. You can't spend wood on quick walls at this point, Viper. Those are expensive gates.
They actually
just
are.
delete them.
Yeah. There we go, and he only gets a little bit back, but Vinchester's here. He's making it impossible for the Viper to take the wood uncontested. And Vinchester, he needs to bring the trebuchet, and he doesn't even need to trade cost effectively over here. All he needs is a meat shield in front of the trebuchets, even if everything dies. But he managed to get the TC down. Then he can go.
The funny thing is, if Viper kills these stables, they have like 10 Hussars queued in them. Vinch is just gonna get a whole bunch of food as these stables die.
True. True. We have gotten to the point in this game where a lot of unexpected things can happen. You think you
What
are...
happened to all the Gaia buildings in the center? I think they've been killed by now.
The
You guys
Viper
auto
cleaned them
attack them.
Yeah. I think the Viper cleaned them up earlier.
I think they just don't attack these walls or the aqueducts. Also, the aqueducts on this map are completely useless. They take water from one part of the canal to another part of the canal. They gotta take it into the city to be useful.
Thank you for the resub, CD. Appreciate it.
Like they just run along the edges.
Yeah, well, we have 3 cherishes now. Vinchester Bombard Cannon is taking the castle down. And that castle is not really going to expose any of Viper's economy that wasn't kind of exposed already. It's just going to be... Oh, yeah, 2 of the relics over here. The Viper doesn't have the monks anymore, so he cannot bring these back again.
Yeah, he needs to... He was trying to repair the castle. Will he keep it up? I don't think he will.
There's no way.
3 trebs. He's buying stone. I think he needs to buy monks instead just to run the relics.
Yeah, there is no
Viper does
stopping.
have a 5k score lead, but he is running low on resources. Vinchester is going to have resources forever.
By the way, at the center, the wood has completely run out. The Viper took everything, and now it's over. Do we have any... What wood do we have? Vinchester's got 26 lumberjacks.
We
Where's
got
the
these
collecting
little straggler trees dotting the edges of the canals, and that's it.
from? Is he getting it from... Oh yeah, he's getting it from those. The Viper is so as well. The Cypress.
Yeah, and yeah, how often do we see a wood game get decided by winning the player who doesn't have all 5 of those relics end up winning it?
Yeah.
This is...
Yeah. Well, you would think so, right? Vinchester's unit queue over here is certainly looking insane. But the Viper still has all 5 relics.
I mean, he does have the better KD, but I don't think the KD will last all
Absolutely.
260 Hussar that are queued by Vinch until those 5 relics pay off.
Once again, because of this game being so uncommon, being so special, and I don't think the players have had a whole lot of games like this to draw some experience
Like
from.
for buying wood.
Yeah, the Viper didn't realize that it was a better choice for him to try and bring the relics back to the back monastery, as opposed to having gone for the stone over there. And that's going to ultimately end up costing him a bunch of his economy, a bunch of his resource incomes, and similar to how earlier Vinchester didn't realize that the better play would have been to prevent Viper from getting access to extra wood in the first place,
Yeah.
which allowed the Viper to survive
And
quite
there's
a
2 relics.
Yeah, there we go. So it's like a few mistakes over here from both these players at different stages in the game, but once again, very hard to blame them, given that this might... I don't know if this might be the very first time that these guys get a game like this. The Viper probably not. I don't know about Vinchester.
Yeah, Viper's definitely done stuff like this before. But now we want to see Vinchester send Vils forward build a monastery and take those 2 relics.
He's going. Yeah.
And then try to walk them back to a safer monastery.
Right now, it's a matter of whether or not the Viper can hold on against, what is that, 500 or so units that Vinchester's got queued up.
Yep. And I don't think it is. Viper is now out of wood. Lost the relics. And yep, there's the forward monastery. Revenge. Viper's gonna try to camp the relics with Hussars to snipe monks, but he needed to bring those relics back earlier.
By the way, the sheep was trying to kill itself when it was under the Viper's control, and now it's under Vinchester's control, and it's not trying to do that anymore. I don't know if it's coincidence, but that just goes to show Viper's precarious position throughout the game.
Yeah, Viper is still over 100 pop, but needs to kill champions with skirmishers.
Here we go. Yeah, and I don't know, is Vinchester queuing any more units right now?
Well, I don't think he can. I think he needs to build more stables if he wants to queue more Hussars. I think the 270 he has queued is limited not by food, but by just how many you can actually fit in the stable queues.
Yeah, that's most likely the case.
So Vinchester is walling in the relics to make sure that Hussars can't get to his monks as they bring them back to the monastery.
Let's see.
He leaves the sheep outside the walls, though. And now, I think, as we said about 2 hours ago, Viper is probably holding on well beyond the point where he should be calling GG.
Yeah, he's gotten well under the 100 population threshold, so that I was talking about earlier. And I guess this might be the Viper just not being aware of Vinchester's current population and maybe thinking that the Vinchester is also struggling to keep production going, also struggling to keep population up.
Yeah, that's not true at all, though. This is finally he says the GG and Vinch takes.
Here we go.
Game 1. And well, let's look at those stats. 1,064 halberdier against 1,851 hussars.
Yeah, my stats are not complete because I had to.
Yours are updated.
I had to. Yeah, I had to restart Capture It when I restarted LBS2.
Yeah, and well, that's 3,290 kills for Viper against 3,032. But if you look at the economy tab, more of every resource for Vinch aside from gold, and it's not even close. Twice as much stone, about twice as much food, and about 15,000 more wood.
Yeah.
And
Or
about 19,000 relic gold, but doesn't really pay off. Vinch, even though Viper was winning those fights, Vinch had the better eco behind it. It took all that wood.
Absolutely. For work account, the Viper was always at a disadvantage. As a matter of fact, you can see Vinchester had, especially towards the end of the game, twice the village account compared to the Viper. So the fact that the yellow player was able to survive for this long is commendable for sure, but it was not enough. In the end, map control ended up trumping efficiency.
So let me give this win on my overlay to Vinchester. And well, I guess it's time for game 2 soon. I thought that Byzantines were a pretty good save for Viper. I like how he took all of those relics early on. But I felt like he made a few mistakes in that mid-game, just like investing a bit too much into the galleons and not having a way to take out the camel archers.
All right. I'm in the game.
All right, mine is just loading, and here we are. And Hindustani's Japanese, a Civ matchup that we've seen a few times on this map. So once again, you have water and fish in the south, hunt and berries in the north, gold in the east, and stone in the west. And also in the west, you have that little Gaia market in the corner you can trade with, and there's gold in all of the spots too.
Yeah, the starting goal is very important in case you end up losing access to the right-hand side. You'll still be able to make a play for gold units as well. And this map has already gotten kind of an established meta of sorts. However, it's also been evolving as of late. For instance, at the very beginning of the tournament, what we would used to see most often than not is players go to the fuel age, and the first bit of action would be in the form of demo shot attempts down the south, right? But it's been It's been evolving a little bit, and these days now the players are starting to wall earlier, so the demo plays are a little bit harder to execute. And then afterwards, once the players get to the castle age, it's usually going to turn into a game of castle drops and map control. And one thing that I've been saying is I think in my opinion, after getting to the castle age, the most priority quarter for me will be the left-hand side one, because if you control stone, then you can go for extra castles elsewhere, but nobody has been prioritizing it quite as much, so as to not get pushed away.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I agree with that the left quarter is the most important. And what I've also seen a lot is the first player to go imp. Sometimes you get castle dropped, but you can run away and then make your own castles in other places. And getting access to those trebuchets is very important. And the one thing that's nice about the Japanese, especially against the Hindustanis, is if you're going for lots of castles, the samurai are a pretty hard counter to the ghulams, so you can protect your trebs very well as the Japanese.
Yeah, and that is also one of the things that has evolved in the meta, because before we would used to see only Hindustanis mirror on this map because of the villager discount that they get, but Japanese have been working out pretty well for the most part.
It looks like Viper loses a horse to Vinchester's TC.
Yes.
And one thing to note about the south is you can only dock around the edges. You can't dock in the middle. So it can be kind of awkward to take fights and continue pushing when your docks are so far.
Yeah. And Vinchester's already going for the walls over here. He knows exactly what to expect in the Viper. The Viper, I don't know if he's going to realize about the walls. It seems like, where's that? Did he lost a horse down the south as well?
I guess he did. Yeah, he has that scouting your Vinch's TC, and then it looks like he died.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can still see the little horse.
A little bit of a horse.
Pixels of tan
in the ground, yeah.
On the shallows there.
And the quick wolf though.
The third horse.
Yeah. There you go. Vinchester's going to lose his one.
Alright, so Viper has lost 3 horses. Player is almost at the same pop. Viper going up just a bit sooner. You might expect the Hindustanis to have a bit of an advantage at the start with their cheaper vills, but then the Japanese also get their fishing ships. I guess one thing to note about the Hindustanis is their vill discount is staggered, so it's 5 food in the Dark Age and it gets cheaper as you go forward. But when you're making all these vills in the Dark Age, you don't get as much of a discount as you would in a normal game.
Right. Yeah. That's true. You end up getting, like, for instance, right now the Viper's going up to the fuel age on 72 workers, right? So it's not benefited by as heavy of a discount compared to any other game. Standard start game.
Right. Yeah. And, well, these Japanese fishing ships, they will work faster, and that will improve via each age. So the faster you get up, the faster you get that bonus too. Yep, 72 vills in the Dark Age. And counting, because you keep making vills and 3 TCs while you go up.
Yeah, that's true. With about, assuming that we had 70 villagers trained over here. I don't think that's the case. I think it'll be a little bit lower than that, because you begin with already more than 10, I think.
You begin with 12.
Yeah, there we go. So
like 3 for each TC.
That'll be still about 300 food or so that you save. But then the Viper, It's
Yeah.
going to compensate for some of that with the fish and chips, especially as the game goes longer. But that is, of course, assuming that he doesn't lose these in the FUH.
You want that to be standard on all maps. You want to have 80 bills by minute 9.
Oh, there we go. The Viper's coming in for the demo. He's got 2, so he's gonna try. Nah, he cannot come in.
Walled.
And in a single demo is not
he can
taking
bust
the.
open the wall.
Yeah. It's not enough. He needs to just to open it, so he won't be able to do any damage. Something else that I noticed that the meta evolves in this map too is the fact that we saw some players, instead of going for the demos early, they just go for standard galleys, which would potentially have prevented the extra walls from coming up over here, would have been able to perhaps break through the palisades.
Yeah, definitely. Viper's going for some walls of his own, but much smaller and closer to the TC. I think the important part, though, is just we have a mining camp for Vinch in the west on stone, and the same for the Viper. He's mining camped 2 stone mines, and they're just going to be dropping castles as much as they can once they get up to the next stage. Viper will be up first, and we'll see where he goes for the drop. Both players with outposts all around, trying to scout those juicy castle drop locations.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we take a look at Viper's point of view, he had a single scout left, right? So on the right-hand side, he's got the villagers just trying to get the outpost. On the left-hand side, he's got the outpost coming up. Yeah, and the villagers are coming up.
Real fight on the left. I mean, I think Vinch realizes he might be the slower one up. So if he Vil fights on the left, that could stop Viper from castle dropping his stone.
Given how massive the head start to the castle edge is for the Viper, this is actually really, really important for Vinchester that he's able to... Oh no, but he's walking away now. The Viper gets the quick walls up. Ah.
He's gonna tower it.
Yeah, and the Viper
immediately
immediately
baits. Moves it further away. We'll be on the gold, but Vinch, we've seen this before. One castle can go up, but that's fine as long as you can go back and make another one. Oh, and Viper's other castle might get denied too.
Let's see. Well, that's a lot of villagers from the Yale player.
Yeah, well, those spearmen aren't going to be enough to stop that.
So we know this castle's coming out, the one at the center, and the one on the left-hand side seems to be, for the most part, unnoticed by Vinchester, so it's most likely coming up too.
So that'll be 2 castles for Viper, and Vinch, I think he needs to get his vills out of there. He doesn't want to lose all of them in the stone border. Oh, Viper is gating them in. He's trapping them. And that there, I think, could have been a mistake from Vinch.
Yeah, sometimes the players will commit a little bit too long around the castle foundation. Now Vinchester is going to end up losing a few workers. So the Viper is 10 workers ahead. Workers that he's paid fewer resources for. And he might end up getting the majority of the left-hand side control. However, it's not 100% yet, of course. And Vinchester will still have access to plenty extra stone.
Yeah, Vinch still has that stone behind his TC. He's castle dropping in the north. And hitting the food area with castle drops can be pretty important, because this is where you're going to power yourself up to imp with those boars after you've taken the fish in the south.
Samurai start coming out right now as well, pushing the villagers away from the Viper. And the Viper doesn't seem to have too much of an economy over here anymore. With the TC going down, he's going to have only one that he's going for up in the north.
Yeah, TC's still on a lot of hunt, but you just have to move over. And I think the real question is, how quickly will these players get up to imp? Vinch will probably need a second castle on the west to keep his treb production up. But if he can get another castle there and get up to imp first, then he can start trebbing down these castles from Viper. And I think it's all about the treb war here.
Yeah, absolutely. In a normal game, usually the players in the castle age, if they are aware of each other's castles, both players get 1 castle up each. It's going to become a little bit of a race to the Imperial Age. This game, with the quadruple TC start and a massive economy happening so early is going to be even more so the case. So the players will be going out to the Imperial Age very, very soon. But Vinchester is trying to go for a forward castle on the right-hand side. The Viper, he's got a defensive castle coming up.
And Viper's castle will go up first. We'll see if Vinch realizes this. Okay, he does, and he runs his vills away. Goes for a defensive castle on the right now.
So while we do have starting goal for the players in all quarters, which means if you end up losing access to the right-hand side, you'll still be able to make a play for gold. You'll still be able to go for your units. If you end up losing the left-hand side, which is why T was also, you know, making a remark about how important it is for Vinchester to get the second castle. If you lose the left-hand side, you don't have any extra stone elsewhere, so you cannot go for castles in a cost-effective manner.
Yeah, this is the only stone on the map. And if you look at Vinch's eco, he's getting close to Imp. He has going to use the market a bit and just click up very soon. Viper won't be too far behind, but Vinch will then have the advantage in the Treb War.
Yeah, this can make a big difference. Especially with Winchester having the second castle coming up already, and very soon enough stone to go for potentially even more. Should be able to, at the very least, keep up with Viper's trebuchet production early on, simply by virtue of producing the first 2 trebuchets earlier.
Yeah, and now with Bodkin on the castles, Viper's actually doing a good job of hitting the vills of Vinch in the west. And, you know, only a 30-second Imp difference. 3 castles versus 2. This is where you start to run into this situation of, can either of these players snipe off trebuchets if they come out first?
Right. Well, the Viper with Hindustan he's the only player with access to bombard cannons, for instance, which means that if he ended up losing the castles over here, he would still have the possibility of making a play for that before completely losing access to the left-hand side. But it's not going to be the case the other way around, so if Vinchester ends up pushing, or getting pushed away, sorry, or the castles go down, he doesn't really have the means to reclaim the left-hand side.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have to keep an eye on, does Viper go for a university and do chemistry right away? See, does he have a university anywhere? He does in the north. So I imagine once he gets up, he's going to be queuing trebs from all 3 of those castles and doing a university, and doing chemistry at the university.
Yeah, right. Oh, the outpost!
Does he have access?
Up in the
I
north.
was going to say, do Hindustanis have siege engineers?
Yeah, they do.
This could potentially be a double university situation for chemistry siege engineers at the same time.
Yeah, potentially. There we go. Here, just here, and Vinchester immediately goes for the trebuchets. 3 trebuchets coming out. 2 on the left-hand side, 1 on
And
the
siege
right.
engineers.
Yeah, siege engineers. No, one in the north.
He's just doing trebs everywhere. Same with Viper.
There we are. Trebuchets are coming out. And, well, Vinchester is going to target with these trebuchets. He's got enough range to target 2 castles, actually. So you can take the one on the right-hand side. He's going for it first. And then he can also turn the trebuchets around and take the left-hand side one, too.
Yep. And, see, he does have samurai in that castle, but maybe ungarrisoning them a bit late. Will that treb stay up? It will.
And we need more trebuchets, and he's going for more. He's got the 3rd one already out. The 4th one is on the way. Meanwhile, up in the north, we have a treb war. On the right-hand side, we have the treb coming out from the Viper earlier than Vinchester.
We got trebs everywhere. I think the left-hand side is the most important one. Oh, Vinch, he had a treb on a hill that's... Yeah, so while the trebs are packed, they have less pierce armor than they do while they're alive. He just took a direct treb shot, but it just stayed alive. He needs to repair that. Oh, it goes down by the castle. Huge mistake by Vinch losing that treb. The thing about the left-hand side, though, is that once Viper's castles go down, he can't protect the trebs from samurai. The samurai always can protect the trebs from the ghulams. I think Vinch is winning this fight.
Yeah, for the time being. Yeah, well done. He took even a trebuchet over there, pack trebuchet from the Viper, so... Now he's taking this one down. The Viper's too close. Oh, man. Is this the same situation with the trebuchet as other units, where the closer the unit, the target unit is to the attacking unit, the more likely that they are going to hit, like the more accurate they are?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of sloppy from the Viper. Well, he's going to end up getting pushed away from the left-hand side, but looks of it, though.
Those bombard cannons, he's able to start sniping off trebs with them. And as you were saying, now that he has the bombard cannons and also some hand cannoneers, Vinch really doesn't have an answer to that army composition. And he has that on all sides, hand cannoneers and bombard cannons.
What do you mean he doesn't have an answer? Cataparuta, man, full micro in all 4 quarters.
Cataparuta and micro, I don't think that's gonna work. He needs some skirmishers or just some cavalry or some unit that can deal with hand cannoneers and bombard cannons.
Oh, the right-hand side, though! The Viper, good job! He was attacking the ground over there in between the trebuchets, so he was able to take them down much faster. Almost simultaneously.
It's the
Wow.
GG.
Yeah. That was...
Yeah. And it's just...
Yep.
Yeah, as you pointed out, that ability to add in the bombard cannons in the treb wars made all the difference there.
I'm telling you, man. Trade cogs for game number 1, Cataparuta for game 2. These guys are not maxing out yet. They are living potential on the table.
Yeah. But yeah, it's even after Vinch managed to clear all the castles, just there's nothing he could do against that army composition when he was going full samurai. They protect his trebs from the Gulams, but needed some unit to deal with the other army here.
Yeah, and the Viper up in the north, he had a hand cannoneer coming out as well, and that's going to be the composition the Viper wanted to go for. Of course, bombard cannon, hand cannoneer, and Vinchester. Alternatively, he could have made a play for hand cannoneer himself, arbalesters perhaps, something like that. But yeah, the Viper was getting some momentum over here, and Vinchester couldn't really get away with the left-hand side control that he was looking for as well, so he was not going to be able to prevent the Viper from going for extra castles and getting more units out.
Yeah, and it's so hard to make that transition when you have to spend all of those resources, first on the trebuchets and then on siege engineers. Viper has such a easier transition going for the hand cannoneers and the bombard cannons because they just take chemistry and that's the only upgrade you need.
This is a very interesting result, and this was only 27 minutes. 40 seconds compared to the previous game. It's not long at all. And with the Hindustanis coming out on top over here, I think this kind of brings the win rate for the civilization against Japanese to like 50%. I think from the games that I have seen, it's been pretty even between these two.
Yeah, it feels like the Japanese have that, like they have the samurai versus Gulam in that matchup. Otherwise, when you get deeper into the game, the Hindustani army composition feels a bit better for that treb war.
Yeah. So for some of the achievements over here, the Viper, in the end, ended up getting the better traits as well. He ended up with a KD very close to 4 to 3. Ended up taking about 18 extra units from Vinchester. When you amount the cost of some of those units with many trebuchets, for instance, going down for Vinchester, it was very, very good for the Viper.
Oh, we're going to get into game 3, and it looks like Viper has selected Coral Islands.
All right.
Yep, looks like it is. And civs are going to be Portuguese for Viper, so something a bit new for this. And Byzantines for Vinchester.
All right. Portuguese. And, you know, for the stats, once again, they are actually not a top 5 civilization pick over here. And you would probably expect them to be, right? With Byzantines and Italians and Portuguese being so prevalent on these types of maps.
Yeah, so I guess maybe one thing that might be surprising is that Vikings have not been picked. Normally, when you're really far away like this, Vikings for galleys is a good choice. But
Yeah.
weirdly enough, because you start with a transport ship, you don't build ships at home and sail forward. You transport, go forward, build sea towers, and forward dock, and then you have fire ship fights. So it's really the wait. Oh, Viper! He brought his transport to Vinchester's Island and stole 2 water buffaloes. He has 2 water
Oh.
buffaloes on that transport.
That is really, really good. This is post patch, by the way, which means that the Portuguese have been changed now.
Yes.
The bonus that they had before for share vision, the team bonus has been disabled, and the new team bonus is what was the new team bonus? The faster research and upgrades, right?
If that was a civ bonus, that's now a team bonus. Oh, wait,
Yes.
Vinchester's doing the same thing. He's got 2 water buffaloes from Viper.
Oh, nice. Good reaction over here as well. Beautiful. He
Kinda
mitigates
counter
that.
lame.
So yeah, indeed, the what used to be a team bonus is gone, and now what used to be a civilization bonus has become a team bonus, and they added a new civilization bonus. I don't remember what it was. Do you remember what it is?
It's kind of like how the Poles get gold while mining stone. The Portuguese get wood while collecting from their berries.
From their berries.
Yep, from their berries. So a very early game bonus. Normally on water maps, you don't go for the mill, but maybe in the feudal age when you're adding in the mill, it could matter.
Yeah, perhaps. We only have the starting berries, right?
Yep, just 4 berries on each island. So 8 bushes in total for the players.
Do you
Nothing
remember?
else elsewhere on the map.
Do you remember how much wood they got? What percentage?
Let me check.
I think it was low, something like 33%, 25%.
Oh, it doesn't say the number.
Okay.
The tech tree doesn't say the number.
No panic. No panic. I'll take a look at the website.
My chat says 33%, and that sounds right from what I remember.
My chat says 25%.
Oh no.
In any case, it's going to represent about 200 or so extra resources, not too much, and that is assuming that they actually do end up going for the berries.
Yeah. It does make you kind of wonder exactly when you want to add in the mill, because you are getting the significantly faster collection rate. And yeah, 33% is what they decreased the polls bonus to from 50% to 33.
Yeah.
And my chat is saying 25%, which might be right.
Now
And
my
also the
chat
sea tower,
is also saying 33%. I don't know.
the sea tower costs 25 wood and 25 stone, and it can only be built on the amphibious terrain here. You can't place it on land, and you could place it in the middle of the water, but then your villas would not be able to run out and build it.
I just have a question over here. What happens to Kumans on these double TC star maps for their extra TC in the village? They can only go for 1 additional TC even on a double TC start map, or if you have 3 or 4 starting TCs, you'll still be able to just go for 1 additional TC in the village. Usually doesn't make too much of a difference.
They can make 1 additional TC? I thought they were stuck at 2.
They're stuck at 2? I thought they could make 1.
I thought they always just had 2.
Okay. I might be wrong over here. I don't know if it changes if you have a pack TC, however, because I don't know if that...
Oh, yeah, that might not count.
Yeah.
So it might be different on different settings. That's a good point.
It's 25% faster. Somebody check. Thank you so much for checking.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, these sea towers, 1,500 HP, but you cannot garrison inside of them. So they're only going to shoot 1 arrow at a time. They're not going to be as strong as a watchtower, even though they have a bit more HP.
Yes. What they do have compared to the watchtower is that the individual arrow does deal a little bit of extra damage. It's got 9 bonus damage against ships compared to 7. So individually they are stronger, but you cannot garrison them indeed. So they cannot protect your economy and you cannot make them stronger. There we go. We have the forward dock from Vinchester.
Yep, and we don't see that from Viper, just scouting with the transport ship. He's docking in the back, going to try to protect his fish.
So Vinchester will also be the first player to transport villagers over to the center. It's going to start collecting some wood from it.
Yep, and you don't have much wood on your starting island. These acacia trees do have 150, but that's not going to last forever. Viper with a quick market, though, and he might be looking to go up very fast to the Castle Age after this. His resources are almost there, and he's not making any fires yet.
Yeah, Vinchester kind of delays himself a little bit, but shouldn't affect him too much. And both players are going to be in the Castle Age very soon, but Viper's going to have probably a 30-second, 45-second head start to the Castle Age.
Yeah, and there he goes. Up already, but could lose the fish, as Vinch has one fire out. And Viper making another fishing ship at the dock instead of a fire ship. Oh, that feels like it could be a misclick. More. Okay, now he's canceled and done a fire galley. I think Viper might have had a misclick there and done an extra fishing ship.
Yeah, for a moment he did. So this is really going to depend what happens in the Castle Age. Early Castle Age is really going to depend on how the players go about this. For instance, if the Viper manages to get a good amount of fire galleys out over here, goes for war galley immediately and then goes forward, or if he potentially already starts sending these forward after cleaning up Vinchester's fire galley, then he might be in a position to do damage. Otherwise, if he's still playing defensive and Vinchester is able to keep the Viper's units on the back, then get into the Castle Age earlier, it's not really going to do too much for the Viper. If Vinchester can get to war galley himself by the time the Viper eventually makes the transition to pushing.
Yeah, and as chat is asking again, the sea towers are 25 wood and 25 stone. So much cheaper than a normal tower.
Yeah.
Not quite as good, but can be built on the sea.
Yeah, I think that you cannot build them on land, right?
Nope.
Yeah, there we go. So 25 wood, 25 stone for these. Pretty cheap. And while you obviously cannot garrison the villagers, you can go for a few more as well. So that kind of mitigates it a little bit. And they do end up covering more surface area.
Yep, and there's war galley for Vipers. He's just going straight for fires. We could lose a bill to a fire.
Yeah, the Viper losing the villager over there. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, it seems like Vinchester might end up taking one of the transports from the Viper.
I think the transports are fast enough to run away from fires, though. As long as Viper's on point with the micro, he should live.
Yeah, exactly. So long as he pays attention. So on the right-hand side, Vinchester is still alright. The Viper's only now starting to put some pressure. So if Vinchester can keep these units alive until he gets the war galley upgrade, seems like he should be able to maintain his water presence.
Yep. And still a couple of fishing ships here for Vinchester in his back dock, so he still does have pretty good food eco. And I guess, kind of like the last game, we see a lot of castle drops in the middle. The only stone on the map is in the middle. There's no gold there, and the golds are on the outside. So there's questions of, do you want to focus on controlling the gold or the stone? And we can see different approaches being made there.
Yeah, for sure. Getting the gold, of course, is going to allow you to go for more units. Getting the stone is going to allow you to get to potentially contest the map as well with castle drops, so potentially even sell some of the stone to get some gold if you don't have access to the neutral golds, but definitely you want to try and go for both.
And war galley in now for Vinch, but it's going to be faster firing fire ships versus more HP fire ships. So I think the Byzantines still win, but it's not as lopsided as for other civs.
Yeah, so 25% faster attacking versus 10% extra HP, right?
Yep.
There we go.
And we can actually check to make sure it is 10 because it's 120 to 132, so that's an extra 12.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good, and Vinchester should be able to defend against the Viper just fine. He's done a good job for the most part so far, and not only back home where he still keeps one fisher ship working, but also forward, he's been able to keep Viper's numbers pretty low overall.
Yeah, and Viper has a few vills he's going to send forward to repair a fire ship. That's actually going to be pretty key because it's going to let him win this fight 1v2.
Yeah, that puts the Viper in a much better position now. Vinchester is the first player though to go over to the center. He's got the TC up already and starts collecting some stone. And very soon is going to have enough to go for a castle. The Viper on the other hand already has enough to go for a castle, but doesn't really have a location for it yet, though he's got some villagers at the center moving.
Yeah, Viper's mined all of the stone he had at home. Vinch hasn't actually touched any of his, just taking it from the middle.
There we go. So the castle is going to come up for the Viper, and it's going to be at the center. This is
almost. I
Yeah.
almost would have liked it more aggressive on Vinch's TC there. That Vinch can counter castle.
Right. The Viper didn't have any vision over there. Probably would have benefited from going for a few extra outposts, perhaps, maybe Town Watch. But it's understandable as the resources are kind of strapped from going for so much navy. Yeah, Vinchester knows about the castle though. He's going for a counter one.
And Viper, might not be able to mine that stone underneath the castle.
Yeah, he won't. Vinchester, if he hadn't enough range now, he still needs to research Balkan arrows. That should be enough to push the Viper away.
Yeah. Now Viper's plan was to get stone and get more castles in the middle, but that's not going to happen. And, gosh, well, he's up to Imp, so he will be able to get the Trebs out first.
Not by a lot though,
But
Vinchester.
he's down by 14 vills.
Yeah, and Vinchester is doing such a great job over here, utilizing the discount to go up to the Imperial Age. Should be able to go up very soon. Take a look at the resources for the purple player too.
Yeah, Byzantines are always not going to be too far behind.
There we go.
Selling food and clicking up.
In the end, it's going to be a substantial lead still, about 1 minute faster for the Vipers. That's already enough for him to get one trebuchet out. And Vinchester's got a lot of stone miners, so if he manages to get a second castle by the time he gets to the Imperial Age, might be able to offset for that. And also keep in mind that because the Byzantines get extra HP, the Viper might get the first trebuchet out earlier, right? But that doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to be ahead in the castle HP.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where Byzantines really can shine on this map, when it's so important to control different features of the map with your castles, particularly stone. It's that faster imp along with the stronger castles that really pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was taking a look at the left-hand side too. And the sea towers over there, they are just so resilient. When you compare them, you know, from Vinchester to what the sea towers are looking like for the Viper is going to struggle to clean these up a little bit more.
Yeah, and Vinch's forward transport ship play feels like it's working out because it let him both control the one of these wood islands here, and it makes it hard for Viper to get to that gold that's between his two home islands, and it also gave him those vills in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. And there we go. The second castle's coming out, Vinchester. I'm not sure he's gonna get this up on time, perhaps, but with double trebuchet production, he should still be able to come out on top against the Viper, who's only going to have the first trebuchet come out.
Yeah, and we also have chemistry coming in for Viper, but I don't see a siege workshop nearby. He's adding in a TC in the middle, but no, deletes it and goes for the siege workshop.
Was
He's definitely gonna need a cannon.
For sure. So, well, let's take a look at this. It's all going to depend on how quickly Vinchester can get the units out, and if he'll be able to take the castle down. The Viper's going to try to keep the castle up. But if he does so, he's got only 4 villagers over here to repair the castle with. That doesn't suffice to offset for even a single trebuchet. So if Vinchester gets 2 out, might be able to take the castle down before the Viper is able to get the bombard cannons out.
Yeah, well, the first cannon's out already. So I think Viper will at least have the advantage here. But I don't know if Viper will be able to keep his own castle alive. Doing careening and heated shot.
Interesting. I love the position for the trebuchets for the Viper over there, because it's going to make it so much harder for the bombard cannon to actually take the trebs down. He needs to get past the castle first. This gives Vinchester thus enough time with the trebuchets to take the castle down from the Viper.
Yeah, so it's more of a castle trade situation. They're not really going to be able to force each other off of the middle so much as just clear each other's castles. And now we're in that same situation where the Viper has that bombard cannon added in. So with that cannon, he can do work in trying to snipe off Vinch's trebuchet. Bombard cannons are 100% accurate against enemy trebs, so they're pretty good at sniping them off, unlike trebs.
Yeah, and Vinchester is gonna react to this by going for chemistry himself so that he can start going for his own bombard cannons. As with trebuchets, he wouldn't be able to do much of anything.
Yeah, and we see Viper dodging treb shots with those cannons because of how mobile they are. And that's going to be a second Byzantine castle going down.
Yeah, eventually, right? Well, Vinchester's got 12 villagers. That offsets for only, yeah, almost 2 trebuchets, but the bombard cannons over here deal extra damage.
Yeah, so that's going down. And there it goes. And now, what does Vinch have in the middle? Well, he's Byzantines. He's going for some crossbows. And, well, I guess Viper, he's going stables. Interesting.
You know...
those are definitely more expensive.
Yeah, he might be able to push Vinchester away from the center, but Vinchester's villager lead over here is substantial. And he also has the most navy right now. And in my opinion, while the map is certainly going to reward players from getting center control, in my opinion, it's all going to be about the neutral islands surrounding the center one because of the gold. The gold is so important. Yes, and you have wood at the center as well, but then you also have wood outside, so if you do end up getting water control, you should find yourself in a better position overall. Especially when you take a look at the amount of stone that's available at the center. It's not that much, honestly. Only about 4,500 left right now, compared to all the gold that's available outside.
Yeah, and I think Viper wants the stone so he could maybe castle one of these side islands. But because of investing into that Treb War and his initial castle not fully protecting his stone, he hasn't been collecting anymore. Vinch almost is at another castle, whereas Viper is still at 23, just sending a whole mass of vills to collect stone right now.
Yeah, and in Vinchester's got some access to stone up in the north. And in my opinion, what Vinchester needs right now is a castle on the right-hand side, let's say on the mangrove over there between the golds, or maybe on the right-hand side where he's got right now some war galleys. Something to defend himself and still get access to gold, and just try to go for more navy and play for gold control.
And well, Knights for Viper doing the armor. It feels like he's doing a really good job of controlling the middle.
Yeah.
Those crossbows, well, they do have Bracer and probably Chemistry in, so they should do a decent job of fighting the Knights. But he's getting a few free veil picks here on the woodline. Vinch hasn't noticed.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of losses. But let's say that the Viper was able to get enough stone to go for the castle and gets the castle up in one of the neutral golds, right? Vinchester with water control should be able to take it down with navy as well. He can go for cannon galleon. So the Viper's gonna need to eventually make a play for water as well, and he doesn't seem to be particularly interested in that. I don't see a single navy unit coming out.
Yeah, and here, Byzantines, it's so cheap for them to make that camel switch. Viper had a few knights in the middle, but the siege is exposed. Crossbows can come in, and he's gonna lose 2 cannons and might even lose both of these trebs.
Well, maybe this is why we didn't see Portuguese be quite a spot there on this map. It's been a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything Viper has wanted to do, the Byzantines also could do, but slightly better.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just with fast amp.
I agree with you. We even see a castle coming up for
Cannon play.
Vinchester, and that should have been the Viper, the one to go for the first castle over here. How heavily he's been collecting stone.
Well, he's collecting it so heavily because he hadn't had access to it. He's trying to make up for that.
Yeah. And there we go. The castle's coming
And
up.
again, look at the gold islands. Vinch is on all 4 of them.
Oh, he got cleaned up in the northwest one, though. A few villages going down. But yeah, he still has presence in the northeast and the southwest.
Yeah, Viper has the score lead, but I feel like it's still... I feel like Vinchester is in the better position here with how he's controlling the map.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree with that. I think the
Sniper
score
has
is...
0 on gold.
It's definitely misleading. Vinchester, he's got Cannon Galleon coming out, and I think from the shoreline, he might actually be able to target the castle from there too.
It is pretty far inland, but yeah, maybe just about from the edge of the water.
Yeah, if not, he's going to need to lead Cannon Galleon. But he's got Bombard Cannons coming out now, in addition to the Trebuchets too.
Yeah,
the
both
Viper.
players doing cannons in the middle.
Yeah, and the Viper had to tank his economy a little bit in order to afford that, though. He's got 0 access to gold.
Yeah, selling a lot of food there.
So yeah, for anybody curious, this series is going to define who moves on to the lower brackets final. So besides this one, there is the lower bracket final, and then there is the grand final of the tournament. Those are the only sets missing.
I guess the one advantage Viper does have in these fights is, unlike the Byzantines, the Portuguese do have access to siege engineers, but I haven't seen if he has been able to afford it. And yeah, it looks like he hasn't. So it doesn't have that extra range on the cannon, doesn't have the extra bonus damage against buildings.
Yeah, and the Cannon Galleon from Vinchester is taking the siege workshops from the Viper down. It's on the right hand side. Oh, okay. More crosses coming up. Vinchester is committed to it. He's got ballistics on the way and extra archery just over here. So what's the Viper going to do about this? The skirmishers, knights, both die to the camels alone. And the crossbows.
That TC is going to go down.
Yeah, there we go. And then the crossbows, potentially our ballisters, if Vinchester commits to it, are going to take care of pretty much everything else, right? That the Viper's got access to.
Yeah, and these Byzantine cannons still doing work. Skirms can pick off 1. It's going to be heavy camel now. Heavy camel with all the upgrades.
And of course, Vinchester being the only player with access to gold currently is not going to care about losing 1 or 2 cannon galleons over there. He can just go for as many as he wants. And man, that is just full domination. The camels are cleaning everything up.
Oh yeah, all those vills, no TC for them to garrison, and they have to run to the castle, but they're all going to die. And Vinch takes it.
He does. He does. The Viper faster to resign than to call a GG over there. I'm pretty sure in game it shows.
Yeah, look at that gold collected.
Yeah, there we go.
That tells the story right there.
All right. Yeah, it was. You know, in the end, the Viper ends up getting a better KD. However, the stronger economy, as you said, the extra amount to gold, right? 5,500 extra gold for Vinchester. Offsets for the extra units he lost to the Viper, while the Viper was not really able to keep up himself with military because of it.
Yeah, and just that water control of those 4 gold islands. Vinch was everywhere that game, and Viper just didn't really take the time to control them. And just like everything, even from those forward towers right from the start, Vinch was focused on those islands.
You know, Vinchester is one of the players, in my opinion, to prepare the most for tournaments usually. And you gotta wonder over here how much of this was calculated, how much of this he kind of foresaw the Viper play like this. It's going to be on the lead right now, 2-1.
And so, what was Viper's home map again? It was
Double farmlands.
Bengalis for Viper and Lithuanians for Vinchester.
All right. Is the microphone all right? Is it? Do you hear any noise or anything?
It sounds fine to me. I'll need my chat to tell me if they hear anything else, but it sounds fine to me.
Okay, perfect. So Bengalis and Lithuanians here. These are not first civilizations that I would have thought of over here, but it's very interesting nonetheless. So what do we get for these? What do you think about this matchup?
Well, Bengalis, they don't have knights. On this very open map where you want mobility, I think you want knights. So their alternate unit would be the Ratha. But does that hold up to Lithuanians if Lithuanians get relics? How many, let's see, where are the relic positions on this map? There are indeed 5. Seems like 3 of them are kind of on Vinchester's side. 1 of them is right behind his base, and 2 are pretty close. And then the other 2 are back behind Viper. So feels like it could be 3-2. Either way, if they really fight over it, either player could probably get that third. But 2 of these definitely safe for Viper, 1 pretty safe for Vinch, and another also fairly on Vinch's side of the map.
Yeah, and the Wrath is also a unit that is not particularly accessible. You need a castle for it, right? And you also need a good amount. It's
Right.
I found the Wrath to be kind of similar to units like the Mangudai, for instance, or the old Mangudai, actually, not the newer one. The newer one's better in the Castle Age, but kind of like the old Mangudai, where you need a good amount of units for them to be really effective, and you need a bunch of upgrades. So it's not something that the Viper is going to be able to go for right away. While Vinchester is going to have a much better civilization for early aggression. In my opinion, like, he'll be able to go for knights right away from the Castle Age, and then if he ever gets castles up for defensive purposes, or if he wants to castle drop the Viper, he can go for Lychai, and a single Lychai is already going to be deadly. You don't need a big mass necessarily.
Yeah. Now, one thing to note is that Vinch has gold inside of his walls, whereas Viper doesn't. His gold kind of got pushed outside next to that stone on the back right. So the only thing he has that is safe by his palisade enclosure is that main stone.
I wonder if this would be considered a bugged map or not. I think it's probably just... It was probably not necessarily meant to be inside. But that's what happens when...
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, with tournaments with very large map pools, especially if there is only one guy trying to balance everything, it can be very hard to have every map be perfect, right? So... can happen,
especially when they're very custom like these.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, I'm liking Vinchester's position better. He's got already 3 extra workers. The Vipers struggle to keep the TCs working. Well, Lithuanians, he gets 150 extra food, which helps and is probably part of the reason why he was able to keep up better. And then, of course, in addition to that, the Viper's economy is only going to get better in the later stages of the game as he gets extra villagers from reaching the next stages.
Yeah. Well, he should get 4 vills total, 2 from each TC, right? So he should be able to close that vill gap, but Vinch, of course, has had that gap for quite some time now, having that extra food to keep the TCs running since the beginning.
Yeah, that should amount to a few extra resources for Vinchester regardless. True. And you can see as well, for anybody who might not have seen this map in the past, why it's called Double Farmland. The players get farms outside the walls that are a little bit more exposed. You have a single tower, but it's not going to protect everything. And it seems like the Viper actually had both farms over here, patches of farm spawn in the same location. Meanwhile, Vinchester's got one down the south, and he's got another one up in the north.
Yeah, a lot of randomness to this spawn.
Yeah.
And you also have your deer spawn on your farmland too.
Yeah.
What were the second and third map? The second map was Four Quarters, and the third map was Coral Islands.
And this is not even the funkiest generation. I saw one time this map where one of the farmlands for one of the players spawned right next to the farmland of the other player. Actually, it was kind of crossed, so that, as if Vinchester had his farms closer to Viper's base and Viper had his farms closer to Vinchester's base, and the towers would range each other.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Still on Blacksmith for Vinchester.
And Market Blacksmith for Viper. He doesn't have the food to fast castle this.
Doesn't. This is now looking good for the yellow player, I tell you.
No. And he could drop off his deer, maybe.
Yeah, I think Vinchester was very close, but now he's going to start pumping some scouts. Seems like he wants to go for fuel aggression. This is a very interesting choice. He had the ability to go for the Castle Age, I think.
We'll see. This is such an open map, even though Viper's done a good job of walling.
It is true, and now we find ourselves in that situation again, where one player is going out to the Castle Age. Yeah. Viper prioritizes clicking out to the Castle Age, and Vinchester instead prioritizes fuel army production. Now, I have seen this actually go both ways. I have seen this go in favor of the aggressor.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, and I have seen this go in favor of Viper's position as well. Let's see.
He's getting some pokes with that spear. That's what he needs. And a fight on the low HP scout, nags it, and that's... It looks like he's defended okay so far.
There we go. Viper going Ratha. Well, he's got 8 stone miners. He had to sell the stone that he had before to go for the Castle Age, so he could be going also for enough stone for the TCs, but he wouldn't be going this heavily just for TCs, right? I would imagine it's going to be for the Rathas.
Yeah, definitely. The question is, where does he drop the castle? Does he go forward and try to hit some of Vinch's base, or does he just do it safely in his own base?
If he's got enough defenses right now with the spearman, he could potentially get away with going for it in front of the north, for instance, the north base from Vinchester, push the villages away from farms, potentially can utilize the stables.
Oh, Viper kills a sheep very far from his TC. That happens if you task the vills to the sheep, but then run the sheep away.
Yeah, oh boy.
No.
Okay, there we go. Castle Age is here. Meanwhile, Vinchester is still 1 minute and 40 seconds away from the Castle Age. And you know what? He prioritized going for military units, but he's not really gotten much of anything to show for it. A single villager kill for Vinchester so far, and he's lost the majority of the scouts already.
Yeah. Oh, monasteries. Double monasteries. Okay, we saw Viper... I saw Viper do this before in Warlords with Bengalis, where he went monks against the scouts because because of the extra armor the monks have, he wasn't too worried about them being picked off. And that might be what he's doing here.
And it kind of makes sense, right? Because what is Vinchester going for in the Castle Age? The Viper knows about the triple stable over here, so he's expecting knights. Worst case scenario, Vinchester adds a few Lychai into the mix as well. Well, the Viper just converts those two.
Yeah. My question is, does this become triple stable light cav as Vinchester is pumping out the scouts now? He is well aware of those monasteries.
Yeah, and
Viper now
also...
has a stone for a castle.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the Viper going for the castle next? He could potentially go for it next to the stables over there, but it'd be kind of risky now that Vinchester's got into the Castle Age and he's got 3 stables to produce from. Viper's spearmen over here are not going to be enough against a bunch of light cavalry.
Yeah, and we do see that light cav, husbandry, and foraging combo coming in. And the monks need to start converting. Or hop into a tower.
Oh. Nice snipes. There we go.
Down go 2 monks.
Yeah, they are tanky, man. They actually took a lot of abuse over there.
Yeah, I mean, they are tanky, but they still go down, as Viper's going to add in that castle and go for the Rathas.
The reason I say Lycha and not Lytus, Lycha, I believe it's the plural for the unit. I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a tooltip that says the plural. One of those loading screen tooltips.
Is that so? I actually hadn't realized.
Yes, that's where I learned it.
Oh. Here come the scouts. The castle's coming up. Viper doesn't out going for a defensive one instead. He is kind of forced into it after losing the monks over there. And now Vinchester is just roaming around with the light cavalry, trying to find the exposed economy. And the Viper's done a really good job walling himself down the south. And on the right-hand side, he seems to be completely safe as well.
But you see the awkwardness of Viper needing to build the TC in the middle of that wall to take the gold. The light cav could run in. That is open underneath the TC if you wanted to dive it.
But we have the gold down the south though from the Viper. The light cavalry already getting to the villages. Getting one down. Can't help but feel like Vinchester kind of wasted the chance over here of getting a bunch of extra villagers. Probably was not microing the units.
Yeah, now Viper just needs to be careful about light cav running in and getting underneath his villagers. He has a TC filled with idle vills.
Oh, man, but look at the center. The Viper is losing all the monks.
Oh, that's not what he wanted. This is the
Definitely
Rathas are
not.
coming out.
Yeah, Ratha's going to help. Vinchester does have his own monastery though, so he could try and make a play for the monks and convert the Rathas.
And so far, he's still just going full light cav. Hasn't had to make any other units. Just booming behind this on 3 TCs. Kill count's still fairly even. But Vinch does have handcart.
Alright. Market's on the way now for Vinchester. Yeah, his economy needs a little bit of work over here.
Viper does always have that option of redemption to convert stables. But he's struggling on gold. I don't think he can afford that upgrade yet.
Oh, he's using the market
He
now.
just wants to go for another castle drop.
Yeah, if he goes for redemption, that'd be ideal, right? He can charge the conversions with the stables.
Yeah, and even just get the stables cleared out and stop that light cav production.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Vinchester. Vinchester's going for a castle. And take out like the economy. Vinchester's got almost enough to go up.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he hasn't had to spend any of his gold. He hasn't been going knights. It's just been light cav. And Viper looks like he has a misset TC gather point, has a Vill walking across the map. 2 Vills walking across the map. They'll just die to the light cav.
Yeah.
This happens to me all the time. It's so annoying.
And now redemption is coming in. You were asking for it. The Viper is going. So he should be able to, at the very least, threaten converting these stables. And he's going to end up forcing extra stables in the back for Vinchester. Here he
Well,
comes.
the monk is the most powerful siege unit in Age of Empires. So here he comes. Yep. Shouldn't
Let's go for
convert
it.
the house, but the rest of the stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Should probably go for the market.
Meanwhile, down south, Vinchester's got had a little bit of a raid over here. Was able to get about 2-3 villages, I think. Not too many. And he manages to stabilize. And in the end, the stables do end up getting destroyed by Vinchester. Doesn't want to risk it.
And there Viper goes blacksmith and market, but Vinch is making a switch, going for archery ranges in the back.
Alright. Archer ranges. Well,
Yeah, no, we
Lycha...
skirm.
sorry, not Lycha. Lithuanians get 10% fast movement skirmishers.
Yes, and the Rathas do take that bonus damage from skirmishers, so skirms are probably one of the better units against the Rathas.
Yeah, they are. Comes Vinchester on the right-hand side. Disrupting Viper's economy. And Viper's getting close to getting enough resources to go up to the Imperial Age.
Yeah, and we see how those light cav just ran through that open TC down there. Just part of that gold generation affecting the game.
Oh, the Viper wants to convert the tower on the left-hand side. He's gonna do it. He's doing it.
Oh, yeah. Towers can be converted. No water holes. So he just
He got it.
took it. He took it. That's
You
nice
know,
conversion by him. And
Vinchester.
Viper's up to 2, but 2 minutes slower.
Yeah, much later compared to Vinchester. The purple player, he's got a second castle already up. He starts to go for some light chai, and it kind of feels like Vinchester's pushed back over here by the Viper, but it feels like he's going to spring back after getting to the
Viper
village.
wants a castle there, right underneath that tower he converted, right on Vinch's eco.
Yeah,
That's going to be a great castle if it takes out all those farms. And Vinch, that's his stone. He doesn't yet have the stone to counter castle.
the stone, the gold, the farms, indeed, and Vinchester not only doesn't have enough stone to counter, he could potentially make a play with the market over there, sell some of the food and buy the stone, but Vinchester doesn't really have too many military units to work with over here, so he's bringing in the light giant, the light cavalry on the right hand side. Let's see if the Viper realizes. He does, probably, but the
They're
castle
getting
still.
in.
He's gotta force it.
Is that going up? It's very doubt.
Whoa! No way!
It doesn't go up. Vinch is the Vill lead. Viper still is an imp. Chemistry is in. I don't see a workshop, but that could be bombard cannons.
Man,
2 trebs are out for Vinch.
I thought there was no way.
Feels like he's about to take this.
Yeah, he's looking so good. I thought there was no way for the Viper to have that castle denied, but in the end, Vinchester gets away with it. Could potentially wall it if he wanted. At some point, he's just trying to take the foundation down with the light chai, and the trebuchets are deploying already.
Yeah, so Viper maybe training a bit too much with doubt. Doesn't get that castle up 98.37%. And the raids from Vinchester from the Late Shire are going to start coming in on Viper's southern base. And his northern castle will be trebbed down. Only 11 vills repairing.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough for the Viper to keep the castle up. But Vinchester needs one more treb. Now he's bringing the light chef forward as well. So if he can go and snipe some of the villagers over there, that'll be ideal. However, the Viper's got a scary amount of monks over here.
If he can get 5 conversions here, that would be amazing. And he gets 4 at least.
Yeah.
Well, that was really good. That's what he needed. But it still might not be enough.
Where's the next trebuchet? Vinchester's not going for it. He's got the resources. He's not producing light chai. What happened here?
I feel like Vinch just needs a couple more trebs and he's okay. Viper defends that castle for now, doing Theocracy and all the monk upgrades. Oh, he's sending Vills to get the castle up. Vinch has a few knights and light cav there. Oh, Viper, this could be a massacre of your Vills.
Oh, man. Yeah, he tried to be sneaky and go around the left-hand side to go around the vision of the castle from Vinchester, but Vinchester had a light chair over there. Well played. That is a fantastic game sense from Vinchester. I don't think he actually had vision, did he? I don't think he did.
He was just scouting there with his cav, and Viper, like, it's not even worth it to delete the castle at this point. You get so little stone back from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vinchester, well, Vinchester is getting the trebuchets out right now once again, but he needs to take care of the monks, and he's going for hand cannoneer, trying to absorb the conversions over there, and takes one of the trebuchets down with the light jet too.
But 4 relic Lithuanians are really strong with their unique unit.
Absolutely.
Viper needs to repair that treb. His Vill's there, but just standing idle near the treb, not repairing it. And now the cannons could take out the other treb.
He does.
And Viper must have been quick walling to stop raids in the back of his base and lost the trebs, and the raid gets in anyway.
True, and even on the right hand side, he ended up losing a few villagers to Alice over there, so everything's falling apart for the Viper, completely crumbling over here.
He's trying to run back and forth with his halbs, but the monk versus straight light cav play not working out.
Yeah, probably was a little bit too optimistic about the extra armor over there.
And now with 3 trebs and a cannon, this castle's going down.
There are no extra chances. You lose the series over here, you're out of the tournament. This is already the lower bracket. So Vinchester looks like it's gonna be the one still contesting the title for the tournament. And the Viper is kind of falling apart at the seams over here. Meanwhile, Vinchester's picking up some steam, getting momentum.
I like how Vinch has this line of castles down the map. And remember when we looked at the relic locations earlier, it looked like one of them was really far in the back of Viper's base, but Vinch still scouted it and was able to take it.
Absolutely. So we had only 2 relics that... Oh, was it 2 or was it 3 relics that Vinchester had closer to his base?
He had 3 that were a bit closer to him. Just
right.
that those 2 near Viper, and one of them was stolen.
Right.
So nice plays by Vinchester this entire game.
And here come the Lychai, Elite Lychai going right up against the Halberdier. And with the hand cannoneer over here, should be pretty one-sided.
The monks are going down. I guess Viper did take out a castle, but he's going to lose his trebs in the process. And he's going to lose another castle. And there we go. There's the GG. Vinch takes it.
It's going to be a final score then of 3-1. Favoring Vinchester. Once again, one of the most versatile players. One of the players to prepare the most for tournament matches as well. Vinchester, well deserved. Will be the one moving on to the lower brackets final, which is going to be a best of 7. And he'll be facing... he's going to be facing Sito over there. Yeah. But well played.
Oh, very well played by Vinchester, knocking out Viper not once but twice.
Let's check.
And so, yeah, let me bring